Going live. We're live, see? No, that's how it was. So, guys, welcome to Hampshire Outdoors and Survival. Evening, Foxy Lady the Witch. Hi, Jim. Right, tonight with me, I have a guest. I have Jace, as a very, very old friend of mine. We met, must be
quite a few years ago now.
Quite a few years ago. I joined a motorcycle club. This young gentleman was in the motorcycle club and he was in an officer position within the club. And then I worked my way up to stand shoulder to shoulder with him. But yeah, as things go, things change, don't they?
They do.
And you move on.
We all move on.
Yeah, you move on.
Life gets complicated.
Yeah, other than that, we go live as normal 2000 hours, start with our usual procedures. Hopefully you can all hear me and see us okay. We're sitting a bit further back from the mic this time. Evening, Jerry. How you doing, my old friend? I hope you're all good up there. I hope all is good with you guys. So anyhow, yeah, can somebody give me a sound check? Just let me know, is this coming through loud and clear?
I can hear you fine.
You can hear me okay?
I can hear you okay.
Thank goodness for that. I thought I was going deaf. Roger that. Cheers, Jerry. That's fantastic news. Fantastic news. So, Andy Parkinson, mate, cheers for that. Cheers for that. Much appreciated. So, guys, I hope you've all had an awesome week. And as normal, we're supposed to start 2000. We're a few minutes early. So anybody watching this on catch up, FU crew, hi you guys. How are you all doing over there? Hope everything is good. Stephen, excellent. Hi mate. Everything good with you guys? Yeah. So this week, and Kaz has just joined us. Evening, Kaz. So. Yes. What can I say? Been a funny old week. Been a bit of a hectic one. Sam's coming on tonight. Excellent. Yeah, been a funny old one this week. And yes, before anybody comments and says it, I have dyed the beard. Yeah, I know.
Grow old gracefully, man.
No, I refuse to grow old. I refuse to grow old. I refuse. I will go kicking and screaming into the night, my friend.
I think I'm rocking the red panda look with my grey hair.
It's lovely.
At the end of the day, it's a bit of fun, really. I don't take dyeing my beard serious, and I actually don't take my beards that serious, as you may notice on occasion.
You and me both like there, actually.
In actual fact, somebody pointed out to me the other day in one of my early videos, I walked around for about 10 minutes with my fly completely undone. didn't even notice it on the edit. And what was even funnier, what's even funny when you go back and look at it, just like a 9-year-old schoolboy, I've got my shirt tail hanging out through the fly. Shows how observant I am when it comes to my dressing. And by all means, have a chuckle at the beard. I'm not bothered by that. It's one of those things. Oh, you're looking after your mum, Foxy Lady. I hope your mum's okay, and I hope you're good. Hope it's not too stressful for you. Yeah, things like that tend to happen in life, and do you know what? Some people get so upset by it, but hey. They just open
I like
the
that,
beast
Jim.
to sleep. Pretty much, Jim. I'll go with that one, mate. Pretty much that. Pretty much that. 2000. Back a minute in. Guys, welcome to Hampshire Outdoors and Survival. This is Social Sunday. Unfortunately, with the way the week's gone this week, apart from inviting Jason, I have actually planned nothing. I've blown it on research and everything else for you. So it's an open night. So we're going to freehand it. So that goes. Any ideas, any questions, any comments, anything you want to talk about, anything you want to see, anything you want to know, just fire it up there. It's not a problem. And again, feel free to ask questions to me, Jace, and Kaz, and obviously Mac from the Hampshire Hog Hunters. He'll be joining us shortly. And if there's any questions you need to fire his way, by all means do. Please, guys, like, subscribe, and share. We appreciate it because it all helps with my morale. Basically, anybody that's doing this sort of thing, you can go for weeks and weeks and weeks, and you get really quite you don't get down about it. You can get quite miffed about it. Like, my videos don't seem to be growing, or my doesn't seem to be growing on my channel. And you start to get a little bit paranoid about it. When I see the comments, when I see the little mentions and all the rest of it, that's what really helps. The thumbs up. Okay, thanks for you guys. Let me know I'm still cracking it out, and I'm still doing something that entertains people. As I said before, I'm not too bothered about growing this channel to a multi-million-pound subscriber channel. Okay, if it's just you guys, as long as you're enjoying it, that's all that really matters. That's it. I'm doing my thing, and I get a great deal of pleasure out of it, and I enjoy sharing it.
Evening, dirty faces.
Evening, dirty faces. How you doing?
Yeah, I was just going to say, Foxy Lady,
Oh,
we hope
shit.
your dad recovers quickly.
Yeah. Prayers and blessings be to your family, and I'm sure everybody here on the channel will join me in sending their prayers and blessings to you, no matter which faith they may belong to. All I can say to you is hang on tight. Yeah, try and keep smiling, stay positive. Yeah, and we're all with you.
Hospital's the best place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The hospital is the best place to be. Yeah. And that's the other thing with this channel. It's a supportive channel where we're not interested in knocking people or poo-pooing other channels. And as I've said before, we keep politics out of it on this channel. We keep religion out of it. We've all got our own belief systems, okay? And we show respect to all, no matter what it is. And at the end of the day, we won't knock anybody else for anything they do. We won't knock any other channels on this on here. Everybody's doing their own thing, their own way, and everybody's got their own followers. Okay, there'll be people that watch my channel or watch my videos and go, I don't like it. Fine, if I'm not for them, I'm not for them. So anyhow, guys, thank you for joining me this Sunday. My drink of choice this Sunday, I am on the cider. Jace, you are
I'm on the Whitstable Bay Light Ale.
He's on
Cheers.
Light Ale.
And
Cheers,
Kaz
brother.
is on Ball's Lemonade.
And Kaz is on Bar's Lemonade, freshly chilled from the fridge, I might mention. And also drunk with a small finger poking out, because she's from the
She's
posh.
a lady.
She's from the posh village,
I
you
took
know.
your missus out today, you know.
Yeah,
You did.
yeah, you did
Yeah.
take my missus
I
out today.
brought her dinner.
Yeah, I've been a bit off colour last couple of days, as you might notice with the voice. I was out Wednesday.
Yeah.
Wednesday got caught in a major storm with some people, and when I say I was drenched, I was ringing all day. So like
Drowned rat.
10
There's nothing
hours.
on
I
him.
came limping in at the end of the day like the beaten dog in Cujo. You know, it was one paw in the air looking at the wife going, please.
I came in about 5-10 minutes later and it wasn't a pretty sight.
No, poor old Jace came in to find me. I'd literally shed all my wet and grubby get next to the washing machine,
He was sitting there in his
made a
pants.
cup of tea. So I was sat on the sofa in my
Took me days
underpants
to recover.
with a
Yeah.
cup of tea, and he walked in. That's not a nice sight for
His
anybody.
pants
We wish
were
it on
matching
anybody.
socks, green.
He's due to come home soon. Good. Bless his sweet. Yes. So that's sort of how my week went. It knocked me for six a little bit. Yeah. I've got a bit of a cough, as you noticed in the video the other day.
Don't mention it.
Don't mention it. And Jace, he very kindly took Kaz out for a meal today, and they had a lovely meal out. So yeah, cheers, mate. Appreciate that, bro.
That's no problem.
And I'm glad you had fun, Kaz.
Yes, I did.
Didn't bring me back a doggy bag, did they?
I was
No.
only doggy bags.
Yeah, they went somewhere posh where they don't do doggy bags.
I bought you back some demon shines.
Yeah. Could at least gone to the fish and chip shop on the way home. And as you say, that's the sort of relationship we have. So, guys, yeah.
Evening, Mac.
Evening, Mac.
Evening, mate. Yeah. We're getting there. Anyhow, so guys, no further ado. What I'm going to do, I'm going to let Jace introduce himself and tell you a bit about himself. I'm going to sit back and be quiet for a change, probably light my cigar, and
Evening,
yeah,
Percy
and we will
Pickles.
flow the evening from there. Evening, Pete.
Oh, Pickles. Hello, Pickles.
So, Jace, tell us a bit about yourself, mate. Fill us in. What are you? Who are you? Where you been? What you been doing?
A few of you would have seen me on the comments. I come under Hampshire Outdoor kitchen. Got a small channel. It's not done much. I just haven't had the time. There is a few videos up on it. I haven't had the time to do it. It's just been too busy for me work-wise. I will try and get some more videos up soon, hopefully. Been catering for, ever since I left college. Worked alongside the army a heck of a lot. You do in this area of where we live. There's a lot of army camps, run messes, restaurants, all sorts. And yeah, I do also with Mitch. We do, how do we put it, survival catering.
Yeah. You throw in a combination of what I've learned over the years with what you've learned from the catering side, and combine it to try and give people interest.
Yeah. Pretty much covers it. As Mitch alluded earlier on, we were in a bike club together for quite a few years. It's nothing like riding alongside someone parallel. People in America, if you got any on the site today, will understand. 70 mile an hour with inches between the handlebars. It's trusting the person next to you. It's brilliant.
Yeah, it's that is
people eating pasties one hand.
Yeah, that's
your son.
Yeah, my son. Now that's a bit. Yeah, it's a bit of a buzz. I've got to admit, we set a rule in the club for the officers like me and Jace, who would tend to ride on occasion up front together, parallel in leading a pack of 30, 40 bikes at times. Yeah, all over the country. We set a rule which was everybody stayed up behind us, 2 rows in 1 lane, and the rule was quite simple. You had to be able to reach over and turn your mate's bike off when you least expected it. When you're riding something with handlebars that are up above your shoulders, it's an experience. But again, I digress. Yeah, we're not a biker channel. Although,
you know, do you like your Nepalese curry, Joyce?
Oh,
if you watched that one, have you? Yeah, that's a lovely curry. That one. I worked alongside the Gurkhas for about 6 months, and they taught me quite a few of their little tricks. And yeah, that curry's a lovely curry.
Yeah, Naga chili.
They just eat chilies like they're crisps. They're mad. Absolutely off their rockers.
Yes, so that's a bit about our background, anyhow. And so we'd go out, we'd go to shows, events, rallies, and things like that. And between the 2 of us, invariably ended up with Jace being head of catering and me being the fetch a carry one occasionally.
Occasionally,
although I have been known to flip a burger.
Yeah.
And he's also given me some great tips when it comes to mistake, because like a lot of people, I overhandled mistake beforehand.
I don't know where it's going with this.
Adults.
What do I say?
Whoever I interview next, can we have an adult, please? So I overhandled my meat.
It's not getting any better.
Step away from that conversation.
And so Jace obviously gave me some tips there about meat handling. And so again, and he's also given me some great tips when it comes to food outdoors and that, how to prepare, how to keep things. Sticking garlic in oil and things like that, and mashing it in butter, and then keeping it in the fridge so that it actually puts more flavour into the butter. Then using that as a spread on mistake and things. Absolutely fantastic. And opened my eyes a bit, because like a lot of people, prior to that, although I've always enjoyed cooking, it was fairly basic fare. And one thing Jace has also opened my eyes to the fact is you can go out and do something simple. Not a problem. You can go out and do juice, sausage, beans, whatever you want to do. You can have some fare. There's also nothing stopping you being a bit more adventurous. And there is nothing you can't do on a fire or a bush box without a little bit of thought. One of the videos we're going to do later in the year with Jason's help, we're going to go and improvise an oven and roast a leg of lamb in an oven in the field. And we're going to do it as a Sunday roast. Mac's probably going, well, in fact, we can't do lamb. Yeah, sorry, Mac, I've just remembered you can't do lamb.
What's the matter with lamb? Is he Welsh or something?
No. Doesn't like lamb at all. Hates lamb.
He's Scottish. I know he's Scottish. Well, Mac, I know you are.
So we'll do something like a beef joint or something like that, something nice in an improvised oven with all the trimmings, and it will be
like that one I done in Wales about a year or so ago for about 30 to 40 people. complete dinner done on an open fire, roast dinner. It's possible. You just have to think differently.
Well, and again, it's those sort of tips, and you know, it's all part and parcel of it, part and parcel of it, in the survival.
That's
Heron's Wood, yes, that is going to be another one for us. So that's all part and parcel of you. Hi, John. How you doing over there, mate? Hope the weather's a bit better for you this time, a little bit cooler. Hi, Derek. How you doing, mate?
Derek.
Derek.
You need a few pints of Guinness. Yeah, I know that feeling well. Yeah. So how do you have your Guinness then, Derek? Do you have it standard Guinness, ice cold, or do you go for a purple nasty? He's going to come back and say,
What's
purple nasty?
Yeah.
Purple nasty. Okay, so purple nasty used to be quite a popular drink in my youth for us Guinness drinkers, and it was, you took a pint glass, you put 2 dashes of blackcurrant in the bottom, and then you put a Jack Daniels in it, and then the Guinness was poured very, very slowly on top of it, gave it a purple head. Called it Black Nasty because if you poured it correctly, the Jack Daniels stayed at the bottom, 2 separated. So as you finish that last gulp of your Guinness, as you will with Guinness, the last bit, all of a sudden you got the nasty surprise.
The other one was Death Charge, wasn't it? It's,
Death Charge, yeah.
Yeah, in a lager. Oh, it's got
Yeah, that can be a bit naughty. I'll tell you from my own experience. Yeah, there you go. Matt, there's a shepherd's boy from 12 to 16, doesn't eat lamb. Yep.
Fair enough, mate.
So we'll do a bit of beef. So yeah. So as you can say, misspent youth, I suppose. Purple nasties and that.
Just a quick one. Hang tough. Me and you have got something in common. We're both van lifers, mate.
Yes, that's another thing.
3.5 years in a van now.
Yeah, Jace is a van lifer. So again, it also applies to he's a mobile guy. He chefs all over the country. And one of the things he got fed up with doing was going from hotel to hotel, finding accommodation and everything else like that. So he built his van. And it basically evolved. It just got to the point where it was like, what's the point in living or renting a house when I can live in my van, mobile with my job, suits my lifestyle, and if I don't like where I am, off I go. And yeah, great respect to him. Snake bite, yeah.
Carpet tiles, amazing things there. You can sort of swap them around.
It's a Renault minibus, basically, that's been converted. All the back windows are all darkened out. Yeah, it's nice. I did have a long wheelbase Mercedes, but that wasn't going to pass its next MOT, so that had to go. Yeah,
poor old thing.
That
was a good old bus.
That was a good old bus, that was.
Mike could do a thing on his trailer, so Brendan, you do one of your
Yeah, that's an idea. If you're interested, what
we'll
do, I'm going to be doing a video on my trailer, and we'll do a video on Jason's van, and I'll give you some ideas and that, give you a bit of an insight, and you'll see Jason pops up on my videos from time to time.
It's not so bad, Penny, really.
Yeah.
Caroline, would you like some of my meat?
Yeah, we tend to have sort of quite a laugh.
Just like when your missus meat.
Yeah, you offer my missus your meat.
I'm only on lemonade.
So van lifing. So again, that fits into survival prepping. You've got to downsize. You've got to learn how to plan ahead, have what you need for emergencies and so on. I mean, Jason's done 3 years in the UK, so he's seen heat waves, he's seen the winters, he's seen the snow, the flooding, the rain, and all the rest of it. And
seagulls.
Yeah, he's adapted to all. He's woken up on beaches, although he wasn't at the beach when he when he started the evening.
No.
Evening in.
Evening in. How are you doing, mate? So, yeah, he likes that mobility. He likes that fact that if he gets a call to do a job at a festival or a group that are going hiking up in the mountains for a long weekend or something, he can pack his kit, just take off, and he's self-supporting, which is the way to do it. It really is. And I think if me and Kaz had our time again, we'd probably do, well, we have done a bit in the past. So
Yeah, you have,
we've
I was
been
gonna say,
camping
yeah.
with our little transit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Done the Isle of Anglesey.
Yeah. It's all about adventures and having fun. It's about getting out there,
Absolutely.
seeing the sunrise, seeing the sunset.
Absolutely.
Anyhow, so guys, let me know, what's the weather like where you are? Are you all having good weather? I hope so. Here, we seem to have had rain, and just a little bit more rain, interspersed with rain.
It's been a lot of rain.
A lot of rain. You notice there's a bit of a theme there.
I do.
Yeah,
I've been checking the van just in case there's any leaks.
How's your friend, Derek? You had to stay with you after he broke his foot.
Yeah, Derek, I hope your friend's feeling better. It's broken foot, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope your friend's broken foot's healing nicely. And just an update for you guys on Phil as well. Phil is now home. Had a little bit of a scare yesterday. Had a sudden pain in his head that was excruciating, but it's been checked out. It's all okay. It's knocked his balance a little bit, but again, as I said, that's just after the operation. So with time, he should get better and better and better. In fact, I actually had a coffee with him this morning, shot him a challenge. Okay, and said to him basically, as soon as he can walk 5 miles, I'm sticking him in the vehicle and I'm taking him away for a weekend's camp. So there we go. Yeah, loads of
We could
rain.
do this in the hot, but it's just been rain, rain.
Yeah, Derek, living in your vehicle is heaven and hell. Yeah, more heaven. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah, definitely. Oh, John, you still got it hot out there. Derek's got 88 cloudy, muggy, light showers.
Oh,
yeah,
that's sticky, that is, isn't it?
yeah, but that is sticky.
I'll be
Yes.
sitting out and just sitting out.
Yeah. Yeah. But I said the other week,
You don't want to be sticky on your own either, do you? Really,
there's
it's the wrong time to be sticky.
yeah, there's something very pleasant about high humidity and then just going out and sitting in the rain, literally dropping to your skivvies, going out, sitting in the rain and letting that cool rain and that breeze just wash through you. It's absolutely fantastic. Sunny with cloud in East Sussex. Excellent. I'm going to have another quick peek out the window. Yeah, not a bad night.
Cool.
Big grey clouds in space with a little bit of blue.
Blue waves melting. Where is John?
Not Minnesota. Where's John?
John, where are you?
Louisiana.
Louisiana. Right,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
The roads are melting. Ian had my first full English on the beach on my new Crusader Cook set. Yeah, brilliant bit of kit. Brilliant bit of kit. Absolutely love them, mate.
Yeah. Boys
St.
been down
Louis.
to Tangiers. One
St. Louis.
Louis.
Missouri. I
Missouri.
said it was Missouri.
Yeah, you
Missouri.
did. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, mate. Got your address wrong.
It's a big country. But it'll be fun.
Fortunately, Mackie's passed.
Yeah, we lost.
Yeah, we lost him.
Passed early this year.
Yeah, early this year he passed. His family got hold of us to let us know that he'd popped on to where the Legionnaires go. That was a friend of ours, a guy called Tony, years and years ago. Game old fella. Yeah, lovely bloke.
It was a para and actually.
Yeah, he had two para. He came out 2 para. Didn't fit. Civilian life didn't work out too well for him. Went off, joined the French Foreign Legion, served the French Foreign Legion, did his full term with them, came back and got on with his life. He was a lovely old boy.
Many a drunken night coming out
Yeah,
of his place.
many a drunken night. Yeah, I've been known to stagger home from his place a few times.
He's on the 3rd floor as well.
Yeah, it is sad back, but I'll be honest with you, mate. He had a good life. He had his adventures. He had people that loved him around him. What more can you hope for, you know? And it wasn't bad because the guy's story, and hopefully I'm not going to upset anybody by his family by telling his story or what I know of his story. So basically, he was born towards the end of the Second World War. and he was born with a or severe cleft palate, so the front part of his face was missing, which meant he always spoke. How can you describe it? It gave him a speech impediment, but he had the clearest speaking voice you'd ever heard, because he'd had to learn to deal with this, and he had to fight for 2 or 3 times to get into the army. Originally, he wanted to go into the tank corps. There was no way he was going into that. There was no way he was going to get into the army until he actually he poked a couple of bears and was pretty much told, we'll give you a go, in the parachute regiment. Okay, so at that time, that was a rough old way to go in. It wasn't easy, and he was pretty much told that if he could pass everything, then he'd be all right. And I think it was one of those. Initially, it was a sympathy entry. It was like, he'll never make it, but we'll give him a chance out of fairness. Well, he did. He did. He'd had his face rebuilt by the surgeon that invented the Guinea Pig Club, which was, he was one of the first plastic surgeons during the war. He did a lot of repair work on pilots and that. And so as a young boy, this chap had loads and loads of operations on his face. And you could even see it in older life where obviously he'd had the ops and that. Anyhow, so he made it into the parachute regiment, and he was absolutely brilliant at Morse. Absolutely brilliant at Morse. At the time when he joined the regiment, Morse was a key form of signalling. And because he'd had this speech impediment, when he spoke on a radio or on a net, he was absolutely clear as a bell. He really enunciated clearly, because he'd had to learn through his life to talk in a manner that meant people could understand him. That was it. And like I say, he had a long career with the parachute regiment, and then went off and then packed in from that, marriage and so forth. Got married. That didn't work out so well. Went a little bit off the rails, and then one day found himself in France banging on a door. And I believe 9 years later, I think that was the term. Then I might be wrong, but I believe it was a 9-year term he had to serve. Came out with his French passport. Came home. And cracked on with his life. Absolutely brilliant. That's some great fun. Great adventures.
Some of those videos. That's hard though, isn't it?
Yeah. I tell you what, though, God, you go around to have a beer with him, and it was never just the one beer.
No, I can imagine.
Poor old Kaz used to get me staggering home. Lovely old fella. He was great fun. Great fun.
I'm glad they're sorting out your friend's pain meds, Derek.
Excellent. Brilliant. Yeah. Derek, is that in Jace or as in? Yeah, this is Jace. No, he wasn't here with us when you introduced yourself.
No, he was not.
Introduce yourself again. Come on.
Hi there, I'm Jason. Chef for God knows how many years now. Too many to remember. I'm basically self-employed these days. I'm freelance. So I throw myself out to anyone and everyone who wants catering. I have a son now, a young son, who's an extremely good chef. Used to do the Raw Box at Wimbledon. Done that for quite a few years. So we do a lot of private functions, fine dine evenings for people in their big stately homes. But yeah, I do works a lot with the military, as I said, running messes, officers' messes, sergeants' messes. And yeah, so I got a love for the military as well. Never was in the military, but I've worked alongside them in various stages of my career. Worked for the ministry for a few years as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And we used to ride bikes together as well, like idiots.
Yeah.
Yes.
Young and foolish.
And causing absolute mayhem on the roads.
Wild. Who are these people? Yes.
Yes, definitely. It's
not the sort of people we want riding into our village.
No, not at all. No, we've had a few of them actually.
Yeah, we have.
What are you doing here? Oh, God, here we go.
Yeah. So Jim was saying his old man was a more soft specialist, wanted to become a radio operator. Excellent. Excellent. Yes. Yes, because of course Mac knows his Morse. In fact, actually, I've been out with Mac and one or two of his buddies, and you'll be sat in a bar and you'll hear. And they'll be tapping things
for the next drink,
and then one of them will go, "Yeah, all right, I'll go get it." Or
I love you.
no, she's not too bad, is she? And in the meantime, I'd just sit there all sweet and innocent, just having my coke and staring and watching the world go by. Staring and watching the world go by.
As you do.
So anyhow, yeah. So we've done the weather, we've done thing, done that. Yeah. Oh, I've had a question. So somebody fired me off a question about guns and knives. Okay. And what's the situation in the UK? Okie doke. So guns and knives in the UK. Okie doke. When I'm talking about this, I'm talking generally guns and knives in the UK. Yes, there is a big shooting scene in the UK. Yes, it's there, and it's growing. It is reasonably restrictive. I do feel that our gun laws, in most respects, are fairly sensible, i.e. that there are background checks. Bear in mind, we're in a very small country, and we've got no predators. Okay, so nobody in the UK requires a firearm to protect themselves from anything in the wild, unless you actually happen to get savaged by a vicious squirrel. We don't have any majorly dangerous diseases here that you could come across with a mammal, i.e. rabies and things like that. So there's nothing to really defend yourself from. However, we do have quite a big shooting community, whether it be in sporting shooting. By sporting shooting, I mean deer management and so forth, or even target shooting. We do things that a lot of my American friends think we can't do over here, like 3-gun challenge and things like that. Yes, we do that in the UK, but we have to adapt our weapon systems to it. Do we have pistols? Yes, we do have pistols, but we have to have a stock on those pistols. Same as you have restrictions on your short firearms and that, and it comes down to having the stock, the overall length of the weapon and so on.
So I was with a friend when we was out for our meal earlier on today. He's a hunter. He hunts wild boar, but for him to hunt wild boar, he has to go to the south of France to do that, because we don't have wild boar as such in this country.
Not in large numbers.
Not in large enough numbers.
People to let them out.
Yeah. So again, we have that. We have all the target shooting. We do long range target shooting, and we shoot everything in the UK from pretty much 2.2 rimfire all the way through to 50 BMG, and those are all legal within the UK. The only stipulations in the UK is we have sections to our firearms. You have Section 1, Section 2. Automatic weapons come under a Section 5, which you can get authority to own in the UK. However, it's a very, very stiff thing to get. And you've got to show very, very good reason. You've got to have a business plan, and you've got to have a range in that, and show that you're going to be able to secure those weapons in a safe and sensible manner. So there is an automatic club, and there are organisations that do automatic weapons. In the UK, we don't refer to them as weapons. We don't refer to them as guns. It's always firearms. It's because, again, you're trying to find that balance between the antis and the pro. So we tread fairly lightly. Knives in the UK, again, we have restrictions. And it's probably the same as some of your cities and that. You know, why would you have a sheath knife in the centre of a city? There's no reason to, really, is there? At the end of the day, it's not something you're gonna really need to carry on the tube and that. You can have pocket knives in the UK. You can have sub 3-inch non-locking folding knife. Simple as that. If you have reason, I can carry a sheath knife, but you've got to have justifiable reason. So if I'm going to do my bushcrafting, I'm going to do some forestry work, if I'm going to do hunting, if I'm out camping and so on, if I'm going fishing. So again, it's just having the application. A lot of people think that it's very difficult in the UK, and it isn't, to be honest with you. The biggest bugbear on anything, and again, same thing you have in the UK, an anti is an anti. Somebody who doesn't like something and wants it banned because they don't like it. Well, equally, I find there's things that I find offensive, and I don't agree with. However, I don't necessarily want them banned. Other people get pleasure out of them. One of the ones I always come back to with the antis is I turn around and say it's very funny how you want firearms and knives and everything sharp banned, and yet you don't say anything about a pub where people are allowed to throw sharp, spiky objects at a wall when they're pissed.
Or axe throwing in a barn.
Or axe throwing in a barn. And that's another weird one in the UK. So you can't carry a knife, but there's no stipulation under law you can't carry an axe.
No.
So again, it's just applying common sense to it and dealing with it. And I actually met a group this week. Very nice people, and one of them was very shocked when I pulled out the first bushcraft knife to give a demonstration, and sort of went, oh, it's a knife. 30 minutes later, she was handling my army survival knife and everything else. She was literally once explained to her and gone to her with a common sense approach to it, explain the reasons. She was like, oh, well, no, I didn't realise that. So again, it's what you grow up with, what you're used to. It's also what the media are feeding you. And a lot of people, their only experience is what they see on the news and what the media choose to feed them. And if the media are constantly using fear and scare tactics, then of course, people that have no exposure to things are only going to see one side, and they see what seems to be a safe and practical side. It's down to the rest of us, when we meet these people, to stay calm, not get angry, try and understand their point of view. And I have met people that have some very good reasons for being anti. However, explain it to them, show them, try and get them to see your side, but also accept the fact that they're just as entitled to disagree if they wish. But it's how they do it. If they're being friendly and polite and all the rest of it about it, fine, I have no problem. I don't even mind turning around and just saying to them, the only thing we can ever do is agree to disagree then, my friend. But you have a good day. You know.
But the knife law goes over to myself as a chef. So travelling from one place to another, I have to, or I'm supposed to, carry all knives that I use in a locked case. I'm not allowed to carry them loose.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I think that goes back to one of the things in UK law is going equipped, isn't it?
Yeah.
So under UK law, going equipped, equipping yourself for violence. So take, for instance, right, I get stopped in my car, and I've come back to my car, and I'm out in the woods, I'm doing my bushcraft, and I've come back to my car, I've taken my sheath knife off, and I think to myself, I can't be asked to put it with my bag in the boot. I'm just going to throw it in the door pocket. Okay. Now, the UK law, that's going equipped. Okay. I have that sharp-bladed instrument readily to hand, right? And the way the law looks at it is a lot of criminals will keep a knife in the door pocket, under the seat, in the glove box, to hand, to commit crime. Now, whether you like it or not, you've got to take it from the point of view of the police officer. He knows you from nobody. Okay. However, what's that knife there for? Now, if I turn around to him and put my hands on my head and go, it's my own bloody fault, it should be in the back with my bag and all the rest of it, yeah, out of reach, then it's not a problem. However, if I have it to reach, it becomes an issue. And it's the same thing with carrying a sheath knife on your belt. When I grew up as a young lad, I regularly used to walk around with a 6-inch Bowie knife or bladed Bowie knife on my belt. It wasn't illegal then. And funnily enough, people weren't freaked out or afraid of it, okay, because it was something you saw quite regularly. Nobody was really bothered by it. And as the laws change, and again, any law with anything like this, it always affects the law abiding more than it affects the criminal. Criminal's not going to obey a law, no matter what the law says. He's going to go and get all he wants to do. Unfortunately, it does affect the law abiding, and it even comes down to things like farming. Yeah, a farmer. He's a guy that should have a knife with him 24/7. Literally everywhere he goes on his land or around his land or in pursuance of his job, he's cutting twine, he's opening feed bags. A knife is a standard tool for him to carry. Okay, and he should be able to carry it. There should be, in my book, in the law, a stipulation that says, or the law should be changed to say, if you are carrying this and commit a criminal act, lock you up and throw away the bloody key. Okay. If you're carrying it and you're carrying it in a manner that's not going to cause distress, i.e., you're not waving it around in the pub half cut, then that's the way it should go. But yeah, it's just one of those difficult things. And again, I've been to other places where you have open carry and things like that, and it's interesting to see how in places where you have open carry or where you see people carrying sidearms on a regular basis, there isn't the fear there. Okay, because people are used to seeing it. They understand what it is, what it's used for, and that. Personally, would I like to see UK more armed? No, because we've got too many idiots in the UK. And again, it comes down to the fear factor. So if I was making a video, and I'm very careful in my videos to stipulate why I have it with me, the fact I'm on my private land, and so on and so on and so on. I don't want to encourage, or by my actions, encourage somebody else to go out and just wander in a public place with an air rifle or a shotgun or an airsoft weapon, because it can cause distress to other people. And under UK law, if I do anything in any form or manner to lead somebody else to believe that they could possibly be shot, this is a firearms offence. You can put a banana in a carrier bag, and if you point that at somebody and say, I'm going to blow your brains out, then you are done for a firearms offence. Yeah, I've had that my whole life. It's it's the same people that are anti-knives and that. Is that they come to you and go,
"Oh, you got a knife."
Yeah. It used to be like that with the bike club, wasn't it? Somebody needs that. Get back. He's got a knife. He's always got his Leatherman with him. Yeah, I think I've worn out more Leathermans that way. Yeah.
You always find somebody.
More women carry more dangerous things in their blooming handbags.
Yeah.
With perfumes and lighters and hairsprays, etc. It's
and that was the thing when I was brought up. My father always said, you know, if somebody wants to do a bad thing, they'll do a bad thing. Doesn't matter what the tool is.
No.
They will do a bad thing if that's what they're inclined to do, and that's the thing, isn't it? It's to punish people for doing the bad thing. Don't punish the object. The object's inanimate. I mean, what can it do? I mean, you look round in the man cave here, Jace. Can you see anything that's dangerous? You know, really and truthfully, can you see anything that could harm you? Or okay, it's a grenade.
Neil's grenade. I pulled the pin.
How long's the fuse on this?
Between 3 and 6 seconds, depending on what type of grenade it is. Right. And before anybody freaks out, it's a training grenade. It's an old Mills 36 or an old Mills bomb training grenade. I've had it for donkey's years. Used to sit in my office. Unfortunately, over the years, I've lost the original pin and ring pull, but yeah, just used to use it to teach people how they work, how to fuse them and defuse them. Yeah, so yeah, it's about the only thing in here that's dangerous. Okay, 4570 long Colt, and it is an inert round. 303 inert round. There we go. 7.62 GPMG link, and that is a head spacing round. That's for working out the head space. Oh, what's the next one you can put up? 5.56 or a 223 Remington standard NATO. 12 gauge SG used for foxes.
Make a big hole in something.
Yeah.
Right, I was watching a video the other week. Someone cut the actual cartridge.
Yeah.
Fired it, and it seems to condense the actual. It doesn't
Okay.
spread it. It
Cut cartridges. Okay, cut cartridges are illegal in the UK. Okay, but the theory of a cut cartridge from a shotgun is shotgun's normally full of shot. This is an SG's. It's got 9mm or just under 9mm ball bearings in there, 0.38 bearings, lead balls basically. And this is what you'd use for. It's called buckshot in the States because again that's what it was invented for. So birdshot cartridge is fine shot or clay shot cartridge. But what people do is they will cut round the wadding, and then when you fire it, that all comes out as a solid piece, makes a slug basically. Very, very naughty in the UK.
what's this one?
Oh, that's interesting, that one. That was an interesting one. Okay,
It's amazing what you find in this room.
Yeah.
okay, that is the 1-inch round from a Nordenfelt gun. Okay, and the Nordenfelt gun basically was a multi-barreled. It was a deck clearing gun is all it was really meant for, or it was called a defence gun. So basically, it could have anything from 5 to 20 barrels, and they would all be fired at once. It would be a mounted weapon. There were experiments with putting them onto trolleys and that.
Oh,
And they basically fired this 1-inch cartridge. It was black powder. It was on a shell, and it was actually a bloody clever idea. Invented in Sweden by a guy called Nordenfelt, and this was a solid block weapon. So basically, you pulled a lever, the block rotated back. As it came back, it dropped the shells through the empty shell cases through the bottom, and as you racked it forward, it picked up all the fresh rounds, chambered them, and as you went forward with the lever, the last click, it fired the whole lot in one go. But microseconds, they were timed. So microseconds between the rounds, and it balanced. It actually fired from the centre barrel working out, okay? Because the guy realised that if they all fired exactly the same time, it'd probably blow the thing to pieces. So there's just microseconds between them. And again, it was a defence weapon. If I'm not mistaken, I think about 1875, and was knocked out basically by the Lewis gun in the end. Not the Lewis gun, the Maxim gun. Maxim come along with his machine gun. It was around about the same time, or it went up against the Gatling gun for the British Navy, and actually won against the Gatling gun for choice for deck clearing and as a defence cannon for small ships. Not many of them about. There are a few in a few museums, and yeah, and that round, funnily enough, that round was one that I retrieved from a earthen bank, and yeah, when I first found it, I was like, "What on earth was that?" Did my research. Yeah, interesting bit of history there. So yes, cut cartridges do work, Derek. Very effective. However, in UK, under UK law, your ammunition must be as supplied and used as supplied. But I have been to other places where I may have experimented with cut cartridges. Yeah. Yeah. Poor man's slug. Exactly. That's exactly what it was. The poor man's slug. It was a way. It was really developed as a way for the guy with birdshot and that to be able to take larger game. Really. I remember a journey's long past now. An old boy telling me how during the Second World War, him and his buddies, one of their jobs was poaching for the local butchers. So basically, they were supplying meat to the butchers, things like rabbit and so on and so on and so on. Hi, Ray. Yeah, Phil is doing good. Everything is coming up bunnies with him. And these lads were using. I've actually got one. I've got one in my gun cabinet. It was a Scott bolt action 410 shotgun. Basically, it's not magazine fed. It looks very similar to the Enfield 303. It's the same sort of action. To fire a 2.5-inch 410 cartridge, and they were shown by a local, shall we say, member of the sort of dodgier community that used to roam the UK, and this guy taught them how to salvage 38 caliber bullets from the home guard and that, and they were reloading their 2.5-inch 410 cartridges with 38 caliber lead bullets or lead slugs, and using those to take deer. But again, that was a very long time ago.
Oh, didn't know there was an explosion museum in Gosport.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, they've got one down there, have they? Oh, that'd be interesting. Might actually take the round down with me and see if they've got one again, because it's yeah, it just sits on a shelf.
You drop on your foot and
it's a bit. There's a couple of museums around the UK where over the years I've donated bits and pieces. I've had bits of history. I used to be quite a collector of old ammunition casings and so on. And again, within the UK rules and regulations, so it's fine me to have that. That is a historic piece. I'm not going to have a Nordenfelt gun. I've not got the casing. I've not got black powder. I can't load it. I'm not going to fire it. However, if you've got up-to-date ammunition, you require a license for it. All the rounds that Jason has shown you just now are all inert rounds. Okay, they are used for either head spacing or I used to use them for head spacing. So that's checking the distance between the breech block and the actual round when it's in battery to make sure everything's good. And also you used to use them for drill practice, i.e. loading, unloading and so on. They're inert. They couldn't be fired. They could not be converted to fire. The ones that I've had that are from weapons that I've owned or firearms that I've owned and fired over the years that I no longer possess, no longer have my ticket, are inert. I've made them inert, i.e. they could not be reloaded, reused in any way, form or manner. But again, that was part and parcel of my job for best part of 16 years.
Somebody's I've got my lighter that was just a trench art.
And trench art, I have an absolute fascination and love for trench art. It's history. Trench art, the stuff that was made by guys in the trenches or on campaigns and brought back and quite often just passed down through the family until it gets to a point where I picked up a lighter a few years ago. Kaz picked up for me actually, and the story came with it. The old boy that made it during the First World War, he was a Cornishman, and he made the lighter in the trenches using casings and that.
Yeah.
And it had gone to like his children, then on to the grandchildren, and on to the great grandchildren. It got to the point where they went, we didn't know him. It means nothing to us.
Didn't it?
Had his service number and that on it. And there actually was it. No, it means nothing to us, but it's worth 30 quid, so we'll sell it. And I was like, no, I'll have that. And I quite often dig it out and wonder how his days went. Sir, I have no live rounds, empty cases, pyrotechnics, or parts thereof in my possession. Sir, I have got no pockets in my pockets. Rings near my goonies. Yeah. I have checked my helmet. I have no magazines. All my magazines are empty.
In the UK, can you legally keep a shotgun in your van?
I want to say, no, you can't. Even I know that, and I'm not into I'm not into weapons. Mitch, excellent teacher. I'm left-handed, and he took us to the range one day and taught us to shoot right-handed with a, what was it? SA-80 A1. Yeah. Which I ended up being quite proficient about.
Yeah, a little bit of help.
But yes, no, you can't carry him in the van at all.
Yeah.
Has to be in a locked cabinet against a wall, a solid
bolted, isn't it?
Yeah, bolt. Yeah.
It's there. I don't wish to get political on that, but there is that was done because we have it gets difficult this one, doesn't it? Because I don't want to upset anybody. But we have a large travelling community in the UK, and not all. And I'm not saying travellers are bad. I'm not saying any gypsies or travellers are bad at all. but there have been incidents in the past where members of their community have gone off the rails with something they've owned in their vans. So way back when the law was changed and you had to have the weapon. Even when I'm carrying a firearm to and from somewhere where I'm allowed to be, it must be in a slip at all times. It must be locked in the boot of the car. And they actually prefer it if it's a bolt action, to take the bolt out, keep the bolt separate, and you store your ammunition separate from it. And again,
Yes, I saw that they've lost a high caliber thing on Dartmoor again.
what is it? We're going down to Dartmoor, Mac?
Jim, I've never heard that. The Shamuli nilly googly, so I would have thought you would want to put one there.
Mac, I was working at Hawley Hard in the kitchen down there when the engineers were doing their watermanship once, and they're out on one of their boats, and the boat flipped over, and I think it was 8 rifles went to the bottom of the lake, and they had to call in the divers to go and see if they could find them. They never did find them. So at the bottom of Hawley Lake, there must be quite a lot of weaponry just sat there.
Portsmouth Harbour. Portsmouth Harbour. After the Falklands War, ships coming back into places like Southampton, Portsmouth, and Plymouth.
Naughty weaponry.
And apparently, a lot of guys have brought souvenirs back. And at the time, the MOD's ruling or up until the Falklands, the ruling on souvenirs for service personnel was yes, you could bring it back, but you had to get it deactivated, i.e. you could bring back a war souvenir, you had it deactivated, you could mount it on the wall, it could go in the mess, and so on and so on and so on. And it was pretty much after the Falklands, they suddenly realised that nobody could account for all the weapons that were handed in. And apparently the bottom of Portsmouth Harbour, Southampton Sound and Plymouth Harbour are quite well loaded with souvenirs where guys were basically told on the ships, any of you caught bringing an illegally possessed firearm off the ship are in the ship.
Yeah,
and so
over.
Splash, 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 splash.
The village I come from, there's a hills behind it, and when the Canadian Army left after the Second World War, they buried all their munitions, their jeeps, their motorbikes, all in this hillside, and just pulled it all over it.
Yeah, but that's happened after the conflicts all over, isn't it? Quite often militaries, when they're pulling out, they've got to assess whether the kit's worth bringing back, the cost of bringing it back, and what they're going to do with it once they've brought it back. Because any military that's in a conflict zone will ship out the equipment it needs and then replace that equipment in the stores. It's the old storeman thing. I have 22.
If it's left the stores, it's written off, basically, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's it.
I have 22 pairs of socks in my stores. I have issued 3 pairs of socks. I will not issue another pair of socks until I'm back up to 23 pairs of socks.
Yeah.
And yeah, so basically, once they look at all the costs and that, it gets left behind. And quite often, if there's the ability to, big holes are dug and stuff is just shoved in, bulldozed over, or made unusable.
Is it the Churchill tanks they buried in Farnham?
Yeah, in Farnham, Churchill tanks. $120 for a concealed handgun, 4 years for your renewals. Yeah.
Carry on.
It's I'll be honest with you, Derek. Yeah. It's differences for differences. I mean, you're lucky to be in a country. You've got the open spaces, you've got the rural areas, and that. The rural community in the UK isn't as big anywhere near as anywhere you've got out there. And as I've said before, and it's getting a bit political, but I'm not going to go too far down that route. But laws are made by politicians. The politicians tend to be based in big cities. The majority of the people live in the big cities. The people that the politicians are interested in getting the vote from, therefore, are the cities and not the countryside. Okay. And therefore, to get the vote of the people in the cities, we'll say and do whatever is necessary to make sure all those millions living in the cities are happy. You'd probably find the rural community in Great Britain probably is smaller than the actual population of somewhere like London or Manchester. And that's just the way it is. However, we also have, and I'm pretty sure everybody will agree with me here, there are a lot of idiots in the UK.
Yeah.
And I'm damn sure you've got them over there. There are people you would not wish to ever see armed with a rubber bat on, let alone a sidearm.
Yeah, we might have had a village idiot, but you get to the cities and that you end up with schools.
Yeah. So yeah, and it's
Truck guns.
truck guns. Yeah. I like the idea of a truck gun.
The Eagles landed. Excellent movie.
It's an excellent movie.
Is it a true story? It's based on a true story.
I think it's based partly on fact. I don't think it's 100% true. If you want, excellent. If you, I mean, some of the old Second World War films they're close to fact, but obviously they wanted to make them seem better than they really were. I mean, it always makes me chuckle when they show it as jolly old Great Britain. You know, everybody's happy. We're all in a pub drinking our bitter and eating our jelly deals. It's lovely. Jelly deals. But you know, it's what the production teams wanted to show. I think films today are actually a lot more realistic as to true to life, because I think it's become history. A lot of the war films like The Eagles Landed and so that were made in the 50s and 60s, and it was still in people's memories, so they had to be a little bit more careful. Whereas now, you know, when you go back to things like Saving Private Ryan and that, the effects brought home to a lot of people that were fantasists the true horror of it. My grandfather, his role during the Second World War was he operated Higgins boats when they came in out of the the east coast of Britain. And he was on things like the Dieppe raid. He was on the D-Day landings. He was taking guys across from the SOE, dropping them off, picking them up for raids, operations, all sorts of stuff. And it left him with quite a bitter mind towards people like Churchill and that, because he went on things like the Dieppe raid. He saw thousands of guys lose their lives. He always said that on the Dieppe raid he was returning to ships to pick troops up and telling the people on the ships, "No, you can't take these guys in there. They're just getting mown down. We can't take them back. They're getting mown down." And pretty much being told, "You are going to." You know, he left him very, very bitter. Quite sad, really. A lot of old heroes. A lot of old, their generations were heroes.
Yeah, I know that one, the Wigwam murder.
Yeah, you're right, Mac. If any of you want to watch a really good Second World War film, you want to see a truly amazing story, Bridge Too Far. Yeah, watch that. Okay, amazing.
Is that part of the training, Mac? You have to watch that.
What?
Bridge Too Far.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Kajaki. Well, let's face it, Kajaki, Mac. That just shows the true shit of it all. Let's face it. Yeah, and if any of you haven't seen Kajaki, I suggest you try and look it up and watch it. That's truly, yeah, something people. It became actually regular viewing within the armed forces, and it was not recruits weren't made to watch it, but suggested they watch it because young people. I'm joining the army. I'm going to go do this, that, and the other, and it was a little bit of a slap in the face from this is what can happen. This is what does happen.
Yeah, it's Glory. I don't know that one.
Which one's that?
The next one, 100% about
Finishing.
there's the glory.
Yeah.
This is Glory. Not...
Can't remember that one. Can't say I've seen that one.
And again, it's untold stories as well. It's I can't remember the film now.
I enjoyed that one with about the one sniper. Is it Russian?
Oh, the Russian sniper.
Yeah.
It's been some good sniper studies. Anyhow, we're getting a bit off topic here. We're all getting war films and all the rest of it. Mind you, it's an open evening, so it's whatever you guys want to talk about. We're game for that. I will sit. God, my memory is absolutely atrocious when it comes to the names of films. I'll sit down and do it. I'll go back through my list and come up with my. In fact, do that for next week. Everybody go away, write your 5 favourites down for us. I'll knock my 5 favourites together and we'll see where we come from for that.
Matt, don't you say Barbie or Debbie Does Dallas?
Your
band.
Mac does like his Barbie.
Mac likes his Debbie Does Dallas as well.
Yeah.
Good old Debbie. Yeah, God damn, where she is now.
Only here for the pub atmosphere in the chat. Yeah.
Defiance, yeah, that's another good story. Exactly that. Pub atmosphere in the chat, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? At the end of the day, we're all sitting here chilling. Anyhow, yeah. Yes, the Wigwam murder. Yes, Caroline knows all about that one. Yeah,
I can't say.
was that the knife with the hook?
No, he was a Canadian soldier. He came to this country with the Canadian army, and he got an English lady pregnant, and he murdered her.
Lovely. I thought Hanky Common.
Yeah.
Oh, Hanky Common. We've done a lot up there.
We've done a lot up
We've done a lot up there.
We've been to the old where they practiced during the Second World
War.
Yeah,
on Hankley Common. That's a video I might do one afternoon, Matt.
Yeah.
And one up at Hankley Common, go up to the Atlantic Wall and that, and up to the old mortar impact area. Which is quite an interesting spot. It's a local military training area. It's a natural bowl. It was called Hankley DZ. It was used by a parachute regiment as a drop zone for the guys when they were training. I think Max dropped into there actually, and alongside it during the Second World War, they built a replica of the German Atlantic Wall so that they could practice breaching it and come up with ideas to breach it. And it's still there today, still standing. Hi Lee, how's it going, mate? It's a little bit of interest, but the bit that always fascinated me when I was working up there or based up there was at the far end there's a mortar impact area, and they've still got the observation bunker for the mortar impact area. And basically, this is a big old concrete bunker set sort of in the hillside, and basically a couple of blokes you knew if you were unpopular in the unit because they would sit there because you had to mark and indicate the fall of every round.
Well, one of the films we were doing up there, you were telling one of the crew this story.
Yeah.
They saw the bunker. And
they were like,
up, really?
showed them the bunker and that. It must have been quite a scary old place to sit. But the impact area up there, it's been cleared now, but it took the Royal Engineers a long time to clear it. There was a lot of 3-inch mortars that didn't detonate in there. And to the point where somebody was actually found walking off with one that had a P on it. And when approached and detained by the MOD police, he pointed out that he dug up several of the practice rounds over the years, and they're safe because they're only practice rounds, that's why they haven't gone off. And the EOD or or bomb disposal guys when they arrived explained, no, the PE wasn't for practice, it was for phosphorus. And they'd landed in the peat and obviously hadn't detonated. Apparently, the story goes that 2 were retrieved from his local pub where he'd sold them to the landlord, and they were
Sat by the
actually
fireplace,
gate
weren't they?
guards each side of the open fireplace at the pub. So, and the funniest thing was, they said, yeah, so what do you do with them? He said, I take them home, put them in the lathe, clean them up with wire wool and all the rest of it, give them a bit of parkerising, and then I flog them. And I flog them as retrieved from the beaches of D-Day, and I get good money for them. Yeah. So there's probably plenty of people out there with a live 3-inch phosphorus mortar sat on their side in their living room. If you've got a 3-inch mortar shell from the Second World War that you bought off a collector that
With a
told you to
P
save,
on it.
have a look, see if it's got a P stamped into it. If it's got a P stamped into it, I
Call the police.
suggest you very carefully remove it as far from you as possible and notify somebody. No, there ain't a Jim. I've had it over the years, time and time
You've
and
had
time
people
and time
with,
again.
with
It's
the old metal detectors out.
I've had right. So as you saw earlier on, that's a training grenade. That's a Mills, okay, an old Mills bomb. As used during the Second World War. I was on duty on the training area. Guy with his 2 kids and his dog comes walking up to me with one of those with the pin in it that is caked in rust. And he walked up and said, I found this grenade. I think I better give it to somebody, and handed it, or went to hand it to me. I've never backpedaled so bloody quick in my life. I'll let you stop. Put it down very, very gently. And he was like, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? It's a bloody live hand grenade, you fool. I found it over there in all the undergrowth and that. I said, well, it's why it's an MOD training area. There's a big sign
So
here.
do
It says,
not touch. Do not pick up anything.
yeah. So yeah, I used to get it on a regular basis. People.
Or people walking and saying, they don't shoot on Wednesdays.
Yeah. Another one we had was I had somebody come back to us. He said, I found all this stuff over there. I said, well, excuse me, sir, you shouldn't be over there. Red flags are up. You see all the signage and that. It says that they're live firing. You shouldn't be out there. Well, they don't shoot between 4 and 6 in the evening, so I always take my dog out for a little wander, and I found these, so I brought them back with me. Yeah, trip flares. Trip flares that had been set, and he'd gone round pulling them off the stakes and collecting them and brought them back. God knows how he hadn't triggered one of them. And if it had gone off in his face, that would have been his lot. But yeah, he came back and thought it was disgusting that they bloody squaddies leave these lying all over the place. It's a fucking trip flare. What do you think it's there for? But again, yeah.
Well, I've been coming here since the
Yeah,
70s.
yeah,
That's when they opened the camp. No,
Yeah,
Boer War.
yeah. So it's yeah, you come across it. You can, and again, comes back to the whole firearms thing, doesn't it? You can't fix
No.
stupid.
No.
Okay? Darwin. Now this. Well, I'm going to get myself into trouble with you. So I get myself into
Yeah,
trouble.
go for it.
Go on, I've had a drink. I'm here with friends. If anybody's offended by this, I apologise. Now, however, I have a theory on stupidity. Okay, so in 1974 in the UK, they brought in the Health and Safety at Work Act, and it was aimed mainly at factories and farming because people were getting injured and killed every year. Great thing, Health and Safety at Work
You
Act.
feel that about
It was designed to save lives, and it did. And then it spread into many, many aspects of daily life, okay? And it saved lives. Now, prior to that, several hundred years ago, there was this great scientist called Darwin, okay, who came up with a theory of evolution. Now, I have a theory that the Health and Safety at Work Act and its progressions thereon have actually sort of allowed parts of a gene pool that should never have made it that far to breed, and then theirs to breed. And unfortunately, now what we're faced with in today's modern world, not in every case, but in quite a few cases, it seems to be that, some of them weren't supposed to made it, and they got even worse.
Yeah.
That's a secret stash.
Yeah, but as a kid, Mac, you find 200, 303 rounds. What's the first thing you do?
Hit it with a hammer.
You might.
Oh, that's his cup.
Yeah.
Jerk's asking you about your cup there.
Oh, that's my old cup from Bike Club.
Oh, that's right.
Shit Creek Survivor.
Shit Creek Survivor, yeah.
Okay. So
Rolling Thunder.
this is not my club, or what isn't my club patched cup. That's gone now. The club no longer exists. But that's my riding cup. That's what I wear when I'm out on my bike.
Not too abusive.
Pretty much it tells people what I want them to know, which is, those that are interested, Royal Engineer. I am part of an organisation that does bits for veterans. That's my favourite all-time patch, which is I'm a Shit Creek Survivor, which I think most of us have been. That's pretty much my cup. I haven't got a bike now. Sold the bike recently. That's gone by the bike. So that sits up there. More of a memory than anything. Souvenir. You never know. Grandkids one day might want to see it. Or I might even get another bike at some point.
Been thinking about it myself.
I'll keep sort of thinking.
Yeah, Mac as well, I think.
I think I might have to get another bike at some point. That's and again, same as in the UK, the bike clubs within the communities, they all have their set colours, their patterns, their insignias, and so on and so on and so on. Yes, 303 rounds now. They're expensive. They ain't cheap at all.
Gee, Derek.
Right, Derek.
Okay. They're the Japanese gang.
If I lived in the States, I would definitely have a Harley.
Yeah.
Okay. No, Jason will agree with me on this. All right. Harleys, absolutely fantastic bikes. Love them dearly.
But not in this
However, in the UK, the prices for Harley parts, getting Harley parts and getting services and that is ridiculous, to the point where I recently had to do a repair on a friend's Dyna. Okay. And he brought his Dyna to me because he was desperate, because in the clutch system on the Dyna there is a actuating pin, and it is a 6mm pin, about 1.5 inches long, and it's made, for whatever reason, Harley Davidson make it out of a mild steel, and this thing just deforms with time. You put a high performance clutch in the bike and the pin just sheared off. That's it, done. Goes to Harley Davidson UK and says, I need this pin. You can't get that pin without the full clutch kit. How much is the full clutch kit? It's £450, and you will wait between 6 to 12 weeks for it to arrive. Okay. You've then also got to pay the import duty on top of it, because we're importing it for you. So all in all, about 700 quid for a pin. Okay. So he came to me, and we took a drill bit and used a nice piece of hardened steel from a drill bit, which I then sort of shaped, polished, and made an adapter for him so that it would fit. And that's the problem with Harleys in the UK. Very, very expensive, very, very exclusive. So basically, we went, or most of the guys here, or a lot of the guys here, you find ride Japanese, and we both rode Yamahas, V-Stars, 1100s, which we modified severely. In fact, I've now had
3 or 4
of them, and not one of them stayed standard for more than 10 minutes. Chopped, bobbed, lengthened, shortened, lowered. I've done the full works with them. Great fun.
The problem with Harleys in this country is by the time they come over here with all the import tax and everything else, they're so expensive. And without being disrespectful to the Americans who love their Harleys, they don't last as long.
Not over here, they don't.
Not over here. They rust and they just fall apart most of the time.
Yeah. We basically, one of the biggest problems I think for the Harleys over here is they're just not designed for our roads. We've got a lot of short, twisty roads and that. I mean, don't get me wrong, we've got a good motorway network, but you don't want to be on it. It's the most boring ride you can do. And the roads are
I'm with you. That I
They're
like the
jammed.
old gold ones.
The other problem is pretty much all, no matter where you go in the UK, come the winter, everything is salt, 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 salt,
Yeah,
and it
Yeah.
just it eats them.
I used to have the closest I got to a gold ring. I had a £1,300 European,
Yeah, that was a nice
which
lot, wasn't
was obviously in the States. It was called the ST 1300.
It was quick.
Yeah.
You didn't hang about on that thing, did
No,
you?
no, not at all.
Our son used to have a Triumph Sprint.
Yeah, they used to rust a lot as well. The old Triumphs.
it? Yeah,
Anything with too much chrome, you're just asking for trouble in this country.
yeah,
We didn't like too much chrome, did we?
well,
Although-
only because it rusts. I like chrome, but it just didn't last 5 bloody minutes. It's rub it down, repaint it. Rub it down, repaint it. Yeah, it's that's why it goes, isn't it? It's and there's nothing breaks your heart more than having something you enjoy so much, or you. I mean, obviously we got a couple of bikers here. For me, for a long time, bikes were my therapy. It wasn't just my transport; it was my way of getting out from the world and escaping all the crap. Oh, you're getting a tornado awarded.
Oh, good.
Mate, John,
Stay safe.
John, stay safe. Don't feel you've got to stay on with us. If you need to move, my friend, you move. All right, look after yourself, and pop me a message.
Let us know you're fine.
ASAP. Let us know you're okay once it's all blown over. Don't put yourself at risk, for Christ's sake. And all our thoughts go with you, my friend. So you do what you need to do. If you want to hang on, but don't put yourself at risk. Yes, snug packs, you still get those in the UK, and they're still favoured with the British military. So if there's anything you need, Derek, snug pack wise, let us know. We can always sort it out for you one way or another. In actual fact, Mac uses a snug pack jungle hammock. Yeah, that's a good bit of kit.
Is it fixed to the wall?
Yeah, so no, it's just on the hook.
So go get that.
Yeah, so yeah, jungle hammock. That's a lovely lightweight hammock. He's in St. Louis. Thank heavens for that, John.
We had some thunder hail here, haven't we?
Yeah, we had a bit of thunder hail here. We do get, funny enough, we get tornadoes in the UK. Not quite to the same level as you guys do over there. But we do get them in the UK. Luckily enough, for some reason, it tends to be, well, no, I know why it is. It tends to be in places like the Fens and that, the very flat areas and the open areas. And they tend to be very short-lived because the terrain in that in the UK. Oh, got the picture. Okay, so
I'll tell you back soon.
we had a motorcycle organisation in the UK here, set up by a good friend of mine, in aid of veterans, because veterans in the UK get treated pretty poorly. In fact, they get treated very, very poorly. There's no support from the government or the authorities. So a friend of mine set up an organisation. I can't even remember the name of the organisation now.
Rolling Thunder, would it? No, it's the
No,
other one.
Rolling Thunder was what we did.
Yeah.
I'm having a brain fart.
Yeah,
A few years ago. Anyhow, that was me and Jason. That's obviously you can tell which is which.
Yeah, I'm a good looking one.
That's us riding into the centre of London, where we laid siege to the Houses of Parliament for the day. So pretty much that's me and Jason leading our contingent in from where we were into the centre of London. And that shot wasn't posed. That was actually taken by a media guy.
And that was used for a calendar, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
Who then got hold of us and said, do you want a copy? Like, we were both like, yeah, go on, that's cool. So you can see the sort of bikes we like to ride, and everybody else behind us is just
It looked like you were leading it almost.
just girlies, masters of menace. Yeah, sort of. Yeah. Collected a few wing mirrors over the years.
No, now I think you need to elaborate on that story, Mitch, with your collection of
How
mirrors.
many bonnets has he sat on?
Oh, yeah, quite a
People
few.
when they're driving.
Explain your collection of mirrors and, the police officers.
Okay, so I was the enforcer for our club. Okay, so an enforcer, I don't know bike club etiquette, but in the UK, an enforcer basically he's a policeman for the club. He protects the club and he liaises with other people, along with the road captain, which Jason was, and organises things, gets things set up, and make sure everybody just toes the line. There's no conflict issues, and that's it. And if you have to go and speak to another club or they want to speak to you, it usually comes through the enforcer or the sergeant at arms. So I ride at the back, right at the back, i.e. the whole pack is in front of me and I'm sat back here. Somebody has an issue, breaks down, then they can drop out and I'll drop into them. The prospects are usually in front of me and one of them will drop in with me, make sure the person's okay, and I'm there as an officer to make sure everything's good. Jace, the president, and everybody else keeps going, and then we'll find somewhere to wait for us. So I ride at the back, and occasionally on UK roads you get some pretty stupid people, and we were riding through some country roads, and we weren't moving slowly. We were moving at the speed limit, pretty much the maximum speed limit as a club, and I'm at the back. And one of our guys, he's got his missus on the back of the bike, and he's having a bit of an issue, and he's dropped back. He's had to drop down to about 50 mile an hour. And this idiot in his car decides he doesn't like this, so he starts getting closer and closer and closer to them, to the point where he is literally 2 feet from their back wheel. Well, there's just nowhere to go. So I drop back to his driver's window, indicate to him, mate, pull back. Okay, at which point he gave me the finger and gives me a little swerve. So yeah, I sat on his bonnet at 50 mile an hour, sort of riding the bike, sat on his bonnet, indicating to him in no certain terms. Stupid things like that. I wouldn't advocate it. It was a silly thing to do, but I did have quite a good collection of wing mirrors from various
BMWs
cars.
for some reason.
Yeah, BMWs, Mercedes mirrors. Mercedes, it was an SL, brand spanking new one. Lovely car, beautiful car. And I was sat at a set of traffic lights, pulled up, and the road narrows after a set of traffic lights. It's 2 lanes, and then it narrows in. The left-hand lane's for going left. Okay, my lane's for going straight on. So I'm enjoying my day. I'm literally bob up to the line. I'm not in any hurry. I'm chilling and relaxing, singing away to myself, quite happy. And the lights change, and I rumble off. And this Mercedes, instead of turning left, rumbles off next to me. Okay, and I sort of look over and think, fuck me. Okay, so I give it a little fistful to just ease off in front of him, and he boots it. Okay, so my only option at that point is dab the brakes, drop back behind him. So we pull up to the traffic stops a little bit further down the road. So I'll have a word here because that was bloody stupid. And I pulled up next to him, and my opening comments
Just a word.
My opening comments were tap on the window come down. And I said, look, mate, I'm not being nasty, but I want to get home to my wife and kids as well, you know. And which point an expletive or two was thrown at me. And I may have then thrown an expletive or two back at him. And he made a threat. Okay, a threat that in America would have probably got him fucking shot. And at which point I just laughed and I hit the mirror, not intending to break the mirror, just as a frustrated fuck off and away. Well, what actually happened was I hit the mirror and the whole mirror detached from the car and dropped to the floor. So I'm sitting on the bike. All right, I'll have that then. So I picked that up, stuck it in my cup and rode off, and leaving him stuck in the traffic, looking at where his mirror used to be. And several days later, there comes at the door, and I'm like, it's 2 coppers at the door. Not relating it to that, but thinking, there's 2 coppers at the door. So I go to the door, open the door. Good morning, officer. How may I help you? He said, you, Mr. Michael Mitchell? Said, yeah. He said, do you ride a red Yamaha V-Star 1100, index number, blah, 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 blah? Yeah. He said, can I have a word? I thought, fuck. I'm in a poo now. What's he got me for? Anyway, comes in. Sits down and he says, right. He said, this can go one of two ways for you. Either you can play ball and make me a statement, in which case there's no issue. He said, or you can pretend you know nothing. He said, and I will tell you there's video evidence, and you're in the poo. So I said, hang on. Now it's starting to click, and I'm like, oh shit, cars behind us in traffic, somebody's got a dash cam, bugger. And I'm like, okay, what's this about a statement? Well, I'm not a grass, okay? I'm not somebody to grass people up. The cop says to me, well, before we go further, let me explain this to you. There was an incident. He said, and the man driving the car had no license, no insurance, which is a legal requirement in the UK, and it was a brand new car that had been lent to him by his mate so that he could show off the fact that he bought this brand new Mercedes SL, and literally was stupid enough to turn around to his idiot mate and go, there's the keys, give it a blast, see what you think. And that was Nobby that I dealt with.
Come back with minus a mirror.
Who, after his incident with me, proceeded to hit another person in a car and injure them quite severely.
Oh.
And the copper said to me, all I need from you is a statement to say. He said, we've got the video footage, but obviously we've got no sound. He said, so all I need is a statement to say how aggressively he was driving and what his demeanour was. So I said, yeah. I said, I'll give you a statement. And I basically did no more than tell them exactly what had happened. I was open and honest about it. And at the end of it, the copper said to me, I've got to ask you one question. What did you do with the mirror? I said, oh, it's in the shed. He went, it's evidence, that is. Can we have it? I went, yeah, you can have it. So we walked out to my shed. I've got a little square shed. I opened the shed, the door like that, and I sat away. I went, it's not that one, it's a red one. It's not the white one. It's not a green one. It's this big black one here. I handed it to him, and he looked at the other mirrors and he went, oh, please don't tell me you make a habit of this. Now, when I just looked at him and went, if you don't use it,
you lose
it. Simple as that. At which point he gave me he sort of chuckled and went, yeah, don't do that. People have cameras in cars these days and you can get yourself into a world of hurt. Thank you very much for your statement. He said, and hopefully you'll never hear anything about it again, which I never have. Do I feel bad about it? No, I don't. Bloke was an absolute tit. And he got what he deserved, especially as he went on to injure and hurt somebody else, because he very nearly come close to killing me. Yeah, very, very similar here, John. Yeah. Patch holders tend to carry bits and pieces in their pockets here, just in case they need to eject it. It's a ballast thing, right?
Yeah,
a couple of big guys like me, I keep bits in my pockets as ballast, and I may need to eject them to help the bike sometime.
Spares.
Spares. Yeah, spare nuts,
spare nuts and bolts, just in case something falls off.
Legs of chain. Locking the bike up, you understand. Although I did hear about somebody in the States with a stayback whip, who stayback whipped a I think it was a Ford Ranger or something that was being a bit of a nuisance around him. So he stayback whipped it and managed to wrap his whip around the Ford Ranger and took it off.
You don't see them much in this country, do you?
Yeah, don't put the strap of your stayback whip around your wrist. You want it loose in your hand so it goes with him, not. Yeah. So again, and in any country, I know I will say our club was it was non-affiliated. We knew a lot of the big clubs. We would go to their rallies, their events, and all the rest of it. And our club was non-affiliated to them, although we did get our charter from a local MC, and we had a great time doing it. But like a lot of things, it comes to an end. You know, people.
It's like the next event.
Yeah, people fall out. They argue. and it breaks it up. Because the trouble is, it's like anything, isn't it? When it's small, it's nice. It's all personal. People's chatting, everybody's getting on, and all the rest of it. Then as it grows, eventually you get a numpty that will come in, and that numpty starts whispering in ear holes and saying, "We ought to be doing this, and we ought to be doing that," and just John, pockets balance.
Yes,
It's my excuse.
There's
John,
a lot of-
I'm sticking to it, Your Honour.
Next,
we have roundabouts that you have to counterbalance. You see,
and next month we will be doing. We're off to a steam rally that's got.
And if you guys are interested, next month I'm off down to Cornwall, to the village I'm from. They have a steam rally down there, but they also have a very nice collection of classic British cars, classic British motorcycles, steam traction
Militaria.
engines, militaria, and that sort of thing. I don't know if you guys would be interested in me doing a video from down there. Is it something you'd be interested in seeing, or is it too far off what we normally cover on this channel for you guys'
Especially
interest?
some of the young men, some of the men might appreciate the Fords and majorettes
oh yes,
doing their tractor driving.
buxom ladies in their tractor driving,
With their tight t-shirts on.
their tight t-shirts.
I'm there to see the tractors personally.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the tug of war between a personnel carrier and scammers.
Yeah, so if it's something you guys would be interested in seeing, we'll do a video from there in September. We probably will anyhow, because we're going to be camping down there. So we'll probably do a little bit of a video, a bit of a wander around. I might even just do a separate video to sling up via the channel, just out of interest in that.
that'd be a good time actually. Do the videos for the vans and your trailer.
The trailer and the vans. Yeah, probably what we'll do.
Because we'll have it all set up.
Yeah.
And introduce you to the proper pasty. Hot pudding.
Passy.
Yeah.
Hang on, what have I got on? I've got my t-shirt on.
As Jason turns around, and you have to probably read that a bit. In the UK, we have a company called Ginsters who think they make pasties.
Oh, they're horrible bloody things.
Yeah, so it's been a bit of a different one tonight, isn't it? Covered a lot of different things. I know it hasn't really been the survival put crafty prepping thing, but it's
turned out ammunitions.
right.
basic
One,
gospel.
right. So Derek, so as you're aware, England's shaped like a boot, basically. Okay, very similar to Italy in some ways. In fact, when
Don't go there.
I won't go there. Stop me on about me taking over the rest of the world again. That's the point. Yes, we were going to do a pasty video, weren't we?
Yes.
We'll come back to doing the pasty video. Okay, so I can travel pretty much from Land's End, which is as far southwest as you can go, to John O'Groats, which is as far north as you can go on the mainland, and I can do that in 15 hours. Okay. I can do into Scotland in 6 to 7 hours, which is like the Scottish border. And a lot of people, even a lot of British people, forget that Scotland is as long as England.
Yeah, it's massive.
It's a big old place. But yeah, I can do it 15 hours. It's a long schlep, and that's a single setting.
From where we are to Cornwall.
From where we right. So if we do east to west, right, full width, okay, that can be done in 7 hours. Okay, so pretty much 7 hours wide by 15 hours long. Yeah, so it's not that big a country. And then when you look at the size of the
I
population,
don't know, because you get to the Cornish border, you still got another 4 hours to get to the bloody other end of Cornwall.
that's because we've got no motorways.
So you got no motorways, it's all like small roads.
It's not a big place, and the size of the population is humongous. And that's one of the issues that's starting to come to light in the UK. Our population is so big for what the country can provide. Is and I'm not talking about migration or anything like that. I'm just talking about natural evolution of the country. It's not a big place at all. Not a big place at all.
I think you know, so many green areas are protected, aren't they? Farmland and everything else that they can't build.
Yeah, we don't have a massive amount of what you call sort of open spaces, and the ones that we do have tend to be well used. We get up to Scotland. I mean, our biggest forest in the UK is the Forest of Galloway, as I said last week, and that is a massive size. Yeah, nearly all the majority of the population is in the urban areas now. So you take it from me. So I am, what would you say, 40 miles from central London?
Yeah, we're about
40 miles from central London as crow flies. Okay, so if I drive from here to central London, which I've been doing for the last 2 weeks, okay, I don't leave a town. It is constant urban build up all the way in. Okay, that's to give you an idea of what it's like. If I drive, and on the other side of the coin, I can drive 15-20 minutes further out, and I'm out into what we call the sticks. But even then, you can't travel more than sort of 3 to 5 miles in the UK without coming across a village or a small town or so on. Unless you're out into the West Country, Scotland, you're up into Wales, you're up into the Yorkshire Moors and that. Yeah, this is the thing with the British Isles, Derek. It's a funny old thing. We being the island that we are, we've actually got quite a rough stretch of sea between us and France. It's always shown as quite a smooth and a pleasant stretch. It's only 24 miles at its narrowest point, but it is quite a rough area of sea. You've got the North Sea one side, you've got the Atlantic the other side, and it's just literally it's a race through there at certain times of the day. And when we have rough periods of sea, it's kept us safe and protected us for thousands of years. At the end of the day, you've got that barrier is what saved us more than anything else. And then you've got the I won't say British mentality is anything more special than anybody else's, but there was and is innate in the British people quite say the bulldog spirit. It's quite an aggressive spirit. Okay, a Gurkha friend of mine, I once had a long chat with him. He was a Gurkha officer, senior officer as well, nice guy, very, very up on his history. And I was chatting away to him over a meal, and I said, Bib, I said, tell me, why did your people, the Gurkhas, all those years ago, why did they side with the British? And what's kept you volunteering to serve in the British Army? What is it about us that you like so much? And he looked at me and he said, well, it's simple, Mick. He said, I come from Nepal. I am a Gurkha. He said, don't mistake all Nepalese for Gurkhas. Gurkhas are mountain tribes, and we're a warrior caste. He said, our whole ethos, our whole basis on life is based around warfare. He said, that's been our history and our way of looking at the world forever. We would fight anybody that we had to. We were a warrior caste. We would take heads even in our history. Every village would have the heads of their enemies outside. He said, held in respect. And I was like, right. He said, but the thing with you British, he said, like us, you will fight anybody in almost any odds. Doesn't matter how much the odds are against you, you will stand and you will fight. And when you've got nobody to fight, you fight amongst yourselves. He said, and that's why we love you. He said, because that's your ethos. He said, you're a warrior people. And I think that's one of the things that stood us in good stead during the First and Second World War, along with our allies like yourselves, like a lot of other nations, like Canadians and so on. A lot of people, okay, found that inside them there is that warrior mentality. And I think in the States, I think a lot of people there that come from the British Isles and their descendancy have that warrior attitude. It's that stand up and fight. I will not be downtrodden. I will get angry. Unfortunately, because we've had that, the politicians over the last 200 years have done everything they can to put us in a place to keep us safe. It's almost as a friend of mine once said, you know, if you take a British ex-serviceman, really, you should hang him on a wall in a side a red box that says "break glass in event of war."
Emergency.
Okay. Because that's just the way it is. And I'm not big up in ourselves. I'm not saying we're the toughest in the world, but there is very much a British spirit of, you know, I will not be downtrodden no matter what the odds are. And if you look at it, Second World War, First World War, really the odds at certain points were really against us. If it hadn't been for our allies and our friends and their support and the mentality of the British public, not just the soldiers, the wives, the mothers, the home guard, the old and bold, the scout movements, the kids that would go and do fire pickets and fire watches. It brought us all together. I don't know that it would today. I don't think it would. I think there is a massive change in the thinking of people in the UK. I'd like to think it would. I would like to think that in the event that push came to shove, they would stand together, but I don't know that they would, unfortunately.
Where did the English people come from? Vikings. The English come from all sorts. The actual, real, traditional, proper English, I suppose you call them, is the Welsh and the Cornish, really,
and the Scots,
yes,
the Picts and the Celts.
Everything else is made up of because we were invaded at the time by the French, the Vikings, Germanic tribes, all sorts we've had here. So it's, if you look into the actual DNA of England, there is you can't really pin it down to any one particular thing. It
is. Britain's always been a melting pot. I mean, even when you go back to what they call prehistory, we had the Celtic tribes here, which were the original English, you say, English and Welsh, and then you had the Picts in. I don't know too much about the northern about Scotland's history, but I'm sure Matt can point me in the right direction if I'm going wrong. But you had the Picts in Scotland. These are the ancient peoples of Britain. And then you had pretty much the Romans came in. The Romans came in. They brought nothing. You know, what did the Romans give us?
Roads.
Well, yeah, all right. Apart from
roads. And a bath.
And a bath. And then when the Romans pulled out, we have the period that they called the Dark Ages, which basically weren't
backwards in time, really.
They weren't Dark Ages. The Romans pulled out, and basically everybody went back to living as they were. You know. And then we had the Angles came, and then we had the Saxons came. Then we had Viking raids. The Saxons fought the Vikings, and then just at the end of the Vikings, the Vikings that had moved into France and conquered the Normandy part of France and got made Duke of Normandy, his lot basically invaded us. So it's a mix. It's a mix. But if you go back into sort of like the far west country, you go into Wales, you go into Scotland, you go into other small isolated areas of the country. They all have their histories, and a lot of it is Celtic in form. It's why the English language is so difficult. It is made up of 4 or 5 languages that were the mainstay of the UK. You had the ancient Celtic and Gaelic.
Yep.
So basically, Norse. They were the original tongues, and then you've got the Norse came in. Then you had the French from Normandy. I mean, at one point in Britain, we were a French-speaking people.
Yeah, you would have got done it for Scots-speaking.
You had the Anglo-Saxon accents or language from the Germanic tribes. So you've only got to look at the days of the week to tell you the history of the English language. Okay, your days of the week are all based on Old Saxon and Saxon and Germanic gods. So basically, they came in. You have Odin or Woden, which give us Wednesday, Thor's Day, Freya's Day. The only 2 days that weren't both taken from the Romans, and that's Saturnus, right, Saturday, and Sunday.
Romans, they had a 5-day week.
Yeah, they only worked 5-day week. Yeah, they're quite good. 9 to 5, I believe. And you got your sandals provided.
Yep.
It was something I used to quote to people. You get moaning, moaning soldiers. Okay. So you got moaning soldiers. And I once turned around to somebody and said, "Do you know what? All through history, it's been the soldiers' right to moan. Okay, all the thousands or hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago on Hadrian's Wall, there had been 2 Roman legionnaires stood next to one another, huddled up with their cape on, going, fucking sandals are made by the cheapest fucking supplier. These are bloody awful. Not like our old sandals. Yeah. You seen these new swords? These new swords are absolute rubbish. No good at all.
They rust.
They won't go through one of them buggers, you know. I hit a wicker shield the other day, it ricocheted off. No bloody good that is. Then, of course, you had the Scots the other side. Now, you've got to look at it from that Roman Legionnaire's point of view, okay? And this is why they built the wall, okay? Intimidation, and this is something the Scots were brilliant at. Talk about warriors and knowing how to put the fucking bejesus up somebody. There is your Italian Legionnaire stood on a wall. You've got to imagine this. He stood there in a miniskirt and sandals, okay? When he looks over the wall and sees a horde of naked blue men running towards him, what's the first thing that's coming through his mind?
Sausage.
Sausage.
Caroline. Sorry.
That may have simplified it just a little bit too much, but hey.
Yeah.
And if I offend anybody, I do apologise. But it's just an image I have in my mind of Luigi. I'm a Noah fancying our odds. I'm a fucking off back to the Rob, and I'm opening a pizza shop.
That's really good, though, wasn't it?
How much excited you got tonight?
Yeah. Yeah, would have done. But again, that's evolution, isn't it? It happens. Things change, and it's funny. Every generation and all through history, everything's changed. Migration is migration. It happens. I mean, I don't like it. I will say it's no, I don't think anybody does. I don't think even the migrants like it particularly much. But at the end of the day, things do change. Things become difficult. I can't blame somebody wanting to come to a country where they're given everything. I blame the politicians for not actually sorting things out in the world. These older people at the top could get together and sort half the world's problems out if they fucking pulled their fingers out. Stop lining their pockets. Yeah, that's it. That's my political rant over. Bollocks to a lot of them. They're all liars.
This week's spatchcock.
Yes. So this week, what am I going to do this week? So this week I'll be getting out with Mac, doing a video with Mac. We're hoping to do the hammock video, and I will say weather dependent. I'm trying not to get wet this time. I got soaked to the skin, made myself rough as hell. What I am going to do, Derek, you chatted to me last week about spatchcock and that. You've not seen it. So what I'm going to do, I went out, got myself a chicken, yeah, and so what I'm hoping to do this week out here, it's my short video. I'm going to spatchcock it. Bloody cider's strong tonight. I'm going to spatchcock chicken, and I'm going to do it in a simple manner. I'm not going to fancy it up with lots of dressings, herbs, and all the rest of it. I'm just going to do a simple spatchcock chicken just to give you the idea. Because again, if you're going to cook things like bird or any sort of fowl in a camp situation, spatchcocking is one of the best ways, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you get
it's a quick cook.
It's a quick cook, and it's a positive cook. You're not going to end up with any undercooked meat, and it's easy to maintain and watch. And if it's done right,
chicken.
It's delicious. Yeah.
You've got nowhere to stuff the stuff in.
Hang tough. Yes, there are places still in the country that are like keeping up appearances.
Oh yeah.
And there are people still like that as well.
Yes, there are.
Mrs. Bouquet.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That bucket.
Every village has got one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's the same in the States. I'm sure. In fact, I don't think it matters where you go in the world. I think you're going to find those that think they're above everybody else.
But aren't.
But
socially, they're still the same as everyone else.
Yes.
But I think that's
The,
also,
the bells are ringing too loudly. You upset my tricky woo.
as
Yeah.
my dad used to say, it's always good to have somebody like that in the village because it reminds you how clever you really are.
He's the chicken in your yard.
No, he's sat in the fridge at the minute, funny enough.
He's a bit cold.
Yeah.
Cold, yeah. He's yeah. So I shall
Always
spatchcock a
get-
chicken for you. Do that over
Always
the
collect all the feathers on the
the
garden.
fire. Just simple grilled chicken. Nice. We'll have that for our tea tomorrow, I think.
Baked potatoes.
You want to bake potatoes with it? I shall be doing Mitch's famous baked potatoes with it then. You know, it's the one thing that campfire cooking. It's the one thing that always frightens me when somebody comes up the woods and says,
Okay.
"I'm going to bake some potatoes," and they just chuck their spuds in the fire. They go, "It's all right because the skin's all,"
Bang.
you know, and you end up with these bullets of blackness.
Well, they explode.
Over the years, I figured out a nice technique for baking potatoes in a fire, which means my potatoes come out with a crispy skin, and just definitely are an edible colour, and not overly done. Karens. Oh, we love Karens.
Oh, we do.
Oh,
like
I do
Karens.
love a Karen video. Oh,
Yes,
do we
yeah,
just?
we do.
Don't
we
we
do.
just? You know. And again, it comes back to the Darwinian theory.
Entitlement.
Certain generations through the Health and Safety at Work Act managed to breed their progeny. Their kids are now out there in force.
Progeny.
Progeny. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you very much, Jason.
That's all right.
Devil's
Yeah.
spawn.
You know, oh, I do love a Karen. Yeah. Bet a few of them inside. Why are you parked in a disabled space? Because I've got a blue badge. You don't look disabled. Well, no, I'm not disabled. Well, then why are you parked there? Because my wife's in the shop. She's disabled. Well, you shouldn't be parked there. My wife is disabled. We're parked in a disabled bay. We have a blue badge. She's in the shop. But you're not disabled. No, my wife is disabled, though. And we've parked here because it's easier for her to get in the shop because it's a disabled bay because it's by the bloody door. That's why
we had one that he told Mike that he should
No,
have
John, I'm sure that.
dropped me off outside the shop and then found a normal parking space.
Yeah. So, yeah, I do love them. I do love them. Yeah. It's, I just, I love those angry people. And it doesn't matter what makes them angry. I just love it. It's the self-righteousness.
Yeah, but sometimes you find yourself just winding up that little bit more. See how far it is before that vein in their neck pops.
It's like pig hunting with a spear, isn't it?
They throw their handbag to the floor and stomp their feet. I'm going to tell my mummy.
See, that's the difference here than here in America. See, with a Karen out there or you know, a bloke version, you don't want to push them too far because you don't know what they might have hidden away
I can't remember what they
or
call
might
it.
do. Whereas over here, you
tend
can
to
push them.
Push them a little bit, yeah. I've had it when I've been filming. I do love them because they come up to you. You can't film me. So, well, I wasn't filming you. I was filming that. You know, they're stood to the side. They're not. The camera was never pointed. Yeah, but you can't film here. Well, I can. It's public space. I'm quite entitled to film here. No, you can't because you could catch me on camera, and I haven't given you my proper permission. I have to have your permission. We're in a public space. You can see where I'm filming, and you can choose to walk around me. I shouldn't have to. And then I normally turn around with the camera and go, "Is there any? Would you like to make a comment?" Thousands of people are going to watch this.
Please say something.
I find you offensive. Well, I find your face offensive.
There you go.
Madam, you're drunk. Yes, madam, but in the morning I'll be sober. You will still be, was it?
Ugly.
Ugly. Winston Churchill quote. Brilliant one.
Yes, sir, you are drunk. Yes, madam, but you are ugly, and in the morning I will be sober.
You will still be ugly.
Or the other one, I take offence. Was that Wicker? Or chain link? Idiocracy. Idiocracy. Oh.
Let's look at that one.
Shows that society got to where it is now. Yeah, societies are funny, and it's changing. this is another thing. I had a chat with my mum the other day about this. And we were nattering about it. And she made a good point to me. She said, look, she said, don't let it wind you up. She said, because she said, look at it like this. So every generation rebels. Every generation has to make its point. She said, for me, she said, I was a child of the 50s and the early 60s. She said, so for us, we shocked the world. And she said it did cause shock. Our dress, our attitudes, our music, how we then went to live our lives was completely way beyond what our parents and our grandparents were used to.
Yep.
And she said there were TV programs about how society is going completely to hell and it's falling apart. And she said, and then I became an adult and I had kids. She said, and you boys grew up. And she said, and you boys became punks. She said, with your Mohicans and your bloody razor blades and your pins through your noses and all the rest of it and your anarchy and everything else. And we looked at you and went, what the hell? You know, what the hell's going on with the world? It's going fucking crazy. What the hell? What the hell? And she said, and now, she said, 20, 30 year cycles. She said, it's not an overnighter. And she said, and you're sitting here now looking at these young people and looking at what's happening in the world going, what the hell? She said, exactly the same as I did and exactly the same as my parents and my grandparents did. She said, what's going to be next? She said, these things all tend to be cyclic. She said, the Teddy Boys based themselves on an earlier system, an Edwardian system of dress, an ideal. She said, the hippies based themselves on an earlier ideal and system. She said, it's all going to come full circle eventually. She said, there will be a generation in the future that will be prim, proper, and will have old-fashioned ideals, because that will be the rebellion against what their parents think. She said, so it just all goes round and round in circles.
Yeah.
Elvis and
downtown
the
London, I like that. It's we call it South London. We don't do it downtown London.
Yeah.
But yeah, with that one, it's like most big cities. There are areas that are communities of particular races.
Yeah.
You have your Jewish areas, you have your Chinatown,
Jamaican area.
you have your Jamaican areas. Yeah, so I'm not surprised that your friend didn't see much in the way of proper English. A lot of, if you like, without it being sounding racist or anything, but the white English have moved out of London. It's too expensive. They don't live in London.
And the other thing is, as well, with London, and I noticed it in up there myself, especially in the what I call the tourist areas, you know, the bits that everybody goes to see. I was sitting there thinking to myself, there can't be that many Chinese in England.
No.
But then you say, well, yeah, but they're all tourists. They're here to visit, you know.
Visit.
And again, that's another thing as well, because if you come into the UK, I expect Farnborough and Aldershot, where we live, probably gets two tourists every 10 years. Whereas you get other parts, you got
Samuel Cody.
Yeah.
He can farm,
yeah.
wasn't he?
There's Samuel Cody. He came to live in Farnborough. Yeah.
Flies plane.
Flies planes. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly that, Lee. So it's all cyclic. It all changes. It's a form of rebellion. And there is an older generation that will always try and be hip with the kids and join in with them. And so, yeah, where does it go? It all goes round and round in cyclic circles. I don't panic or worry about it. I look at my granddaughter. All I can do is just try and understand that they're rebelling. You know, as much as I stood there in front of my mum and dad, went, "You don't understand anarchy. Oh, you don't understand it. You're part of the system." My poor mum's going, "Yeah, I'm part of the system. So peace and love, man."
Yeah, back to the people.
Back to the people. And her grandparents would have sat there, and so on and so on and so on and so on. So yeah.
Because Victorians are less prudish than the people of nowadays.
Yeah,
aren't
bell
they?
bottoms. I tell you what, I don't know if anybody's noticed. Jeans are getting lower or higher. The waists on jeans.
Yeah.
I noticed this the other week. I was sitting there thinking to myself, I actually saw a lass walking up the road, and I thought, that's like the jeans I used to get when I was 16. Yeah, they're actually up onto her waist.
There were girls' jeans in 16.
Yeah, he used to wear girls' jeans
Yeah,
at 16.
Oh,
I mean,
it's one of
No,
those,
It was an advanced cross-dresser.
it was a small village. I had to wear what I could get.
it's not all tutus and
Look, there
ballet
was two
slippers.
pairs of jeans in the whole village, and everybody had to share them.
turns.
Oh, my Spanish is terrible.
The only Spanish I can say is dos café con leche, por favor. 2 white coffees, please.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I lived out there.
I know. Thank you in Norwegian.
Yeah.
Tusentak.
Tusentak, Norway. Yeah.
And I had to swear in
I'll be honest
Czech.
with you, all my travels, I've always been lucky enough to find that the majority of people that I speak to, with a smile and an open face, you can get away with it. Okay, majority of places have a good understanding of English, and even when you're in the middle of the Amazonian rainforest, that still means don't chuck your spear at me.
Oh my god.
All I know is cerveza, por favor.
Lee, I'd just like to say it's true what they say about you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
No. Now, old dogs should do the same thing, no matter where you are in the world.
Curl up in front of the fire.
Old dogs are old dogs. Curl
How
up
many
in front of
times
your
has he
fire.
scooted?
Fire, rub your bits on the carpet, and
Oh.
do your own thing. Yeah, I was saying, Mac, I remember I went into Guildford. I was about 15 and a half, so I went into Guildford, and I thought, that's it. I had quite long hair. I'm going to, used to have a place there called Mitchell's Barbers, and I went in and saw the bloke there, and I said, I want a punk cut like them. He went, okay, not a problem. Pretty much sort of 20 minutes later, I walked out with this Mohican. It was probably 6 7 inches above my head, all fastened up, all brilliant. The side of my head was shaved, and I was like, yeah, look at this, I'm so cool. And I had a great day in the town, so it's like, that's so cool. And I got home, and my old man went,
What the?
I had a son, not a fucking chicken. Like a bloody rooster. He said, that can come off, and I can guarantee you, when I went to school Monday morning, all right, I've become a skinhead. Not a voluntary skinhead either. I was, it came off. There was no two ways that he was having that. It was, so you go out there, you're going to frighten the life out of them bloody hens. Yes, Dad. Yeah. And I tried to stand up for myself for a little while, but eventually I lost, as you do. Yeah. I remember my mate come round, he says, Dad, sit there, I'm going to get my ear pierced. For about 15, 16. The old man goes, what? He said, I'm going to get my ear pierced. My dad says, I'll get my ear pierced. I'm going into town, I'm going to get my ear pierced. My dad looked at him and said, how much does it cost to get your ear pierced? It's about £2. Well, £2 was a fair bit of money then. You know, you get 4 pints of beer for that. My old man looked at him and said, I'll be sure for you for nothing. He went, can you? He went, yeah. He said, it won't hurt, take 2 seconds. He said, just bend down there near the bench. He said, got his ear low, got a nail. Nailed his ear to the bench. He went, there you go, get your ear pierced. He looked at me and he went, do you want your ear pierced?
No.
Dad, that's all right. Tough love.
Yeah.
I mean, he did take it out. I mean, pair of pliers, bit of a wiggle. There you go.
Oh,
Do you want the nail
bit of
left
blood
in your ear?
everywhere.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it wasn't too bad. It wasn't a big nail. You'd go to prison for that now, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Our parents taught us wisdom, didn't they?
Yeah.
Beat you after death.
Yeah, it's like a slap it. I told you not to do that.
The other side of the coin, I was lucky. As I lived in a rural area. I was taught to shoot early by my father. I was allowed a gun as long as I was responsible, sensible with it at all times.
Just wasn't allowed to even eat chickens, was it?
He
I don't.
taught me how to throw a knife. No, 6 weeks summer holiday. All I did for the whole 6 weeks, every day of that summer holiday, was throw a throwing knife at the side of a wooden shed. And it was a big old scaffold plank built shed. And the old man literally drew a target on that. He said, "You want to throw a knife? There you go." And he showed me the basics and left me to it. He said, "You crack on with that, son." And yeah, I just literally spent the 6 weeks throwing the knife against the shed. Drove my mum up the bloody wall. Kadonk. Kadonk.
Or your brother, when your brother.
And that is, in fact,
turned a washing line into a bow and arrow. So.
Yeah. That was my first proper scar. That was. I've actually got, I can't really see it 'cause it's a tattoo, but I've got a scar there. And I've got the matching scar on my wrist there. Okay. Now that's what happens when you're messing about with a Fairbairn Sykes commando knife, and you're throwing it at a shed, and you've got good at throwing it. Because at the age of about 13, I was shown off to my mate with a throwing knife, and I did the wrong thing. I went and got one of my dad's Fairbairn Sykes knives, and it was a black one. It was a cheap copy, and I showed him that I could throw that as well, because he said to me, he said, "Oh, you can throw a throwing knife." And I went, "I'll throw any knife," and I threw it, and I was pretty nifty at it. And so, as you do as kids, stupid thing to do, a really stupid thing to do. So you go stand against the shed like that, and I'll throw the knife at you. So he did, and I threw the knife, and it landed about 2 feet from him. You know, it's not a biggie. I went up, pulled it out, and he went, "That's my go." So I'm now in that situation, aren't I? So I went, "Yeah, all right." Thinking, he's no way on this earth he's going to hit me, and there's no way on the earth he's going to stick it in the shed. Dink, and he. God, I did scream. Broke my wrist, and when he threw it, he was like that. Thwack. Wrist went against the shed wall. Oh, broke my wrist, went right through it, and my mum said she could hear the scream in the house. And she said it was one of those noises. Straight away, she knew that was serious. She come running out. Lucky enough, quite a sensible woman. Got my hand and the knife off the shed, left the knife in my hand, wrapped it up in a towel, took me around to the neighbours, got me taken to the hospital. That was some explaining. How did you do that? My mate threw a knife at me. Did he? Yeah, because I threw the knife at him and I missed him, but he threw it at me and he hit me.
No, 2 hours again.
Yeah, 2 hours, oi.
Yes, it's 10
2 hours,
past.
12. Blimey. Been a good one tonight. A safety briefing on this later. I don't know. Does anybody look at the some of the crazy videos out there? I mean,
We watch Fail Army a lot, don't we?
We watch Fail Army a lot, and
Darwin's.
Darwin Awards and things like that. Always good for a giggle. Some of the Darwin Awards ones. Look at the one the other day. The guy stood he's in a swimming pool on an aluminium ladder with a 240 volt drill, and I'm like, really? And his mate is standing up to his chest in the water, holding the extension lead. It's like, Christ almighty, what kind of a world? There we go. But yeah, so those, and you learn by those mistakes. They make you wiser, don't they? Yeah. AK guys, Darwin Awards, yeah. Brandon Herrera, yeah. Do like his stuff as well.
That donut.
And Donut, yeah, we watched Donut, didn't we? Yeah. So yeah.
We watched the Canadian man doing.
Yeah.
He was fishing with a drone.
Yeah, got Greg Ovens as
Greg
well.
Ovens,
I watch a lot of his videos. In fact, actually, I like Greg Ovens. He's a guy I'd like to meet. Yeah, I'd like to meet him, shake his hand, because yeah, he's real. He does it. Derek, yourself, you know, it's doing it for real. It's getting out there. And again, you've got advantages over us with this space, your open spaces and that. You know, at the end of the day, it depends where you are in the world for what you've got resource-wise.
That could have been nasty, though. Dart in the neck. Ooh.
Ooh.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it's yes. There used to be a number of pubs in Aldershot with dartboards that were frequented by military personnel. Certain military personnel that would wear a certain colour berry who would have games like put your hand on the dartboard and
Yes,
see
and call
who can keep it there the longest.
Call the barmaid down with fire extinguishers.
Cooling barmaids down with fire extinguishers because they were hot. Yeah.
The one time a year you stayed out of Aldershot, Airborne Forces Week.
Yeah. Oh, there's some stories about that.
You didn't go near the town that day.
Yeah, I tell you what, it's funny how we laugh at another person's pain, isn't it? And again, psychological reaction, and this comes into survival and prepping.
You go,
quite often when I've had to deal, and I've had to deal with a fair number of situations in my time from of injuries and so on, and quite often I laugh. Okay, and people afterwards will always, you do a bit of a debrief and go, everybody all right, he's off to hospital, he's going to be okay, blah, blah, blah. So you were laughing. That was a bit cruel.
You did laugh when you felt you come off your bike, didn't it?
But that tends to be, that's my nervous reaction. That's my stress getting out. I've also had somebody turn around to me and she said, I thought I was in trouble till you started laughing. I realised when you started laughing, it can't be that serious. That's not a problem, mate. Not a problem. Just don't move,
You got 3 more points to go.
When I was lying in bed,
Game of chicken with boat race.
When I was lying in the hospital, high on
Optics
morphine,
run, yeah.
You done nothing, a broken shoulder. You done nothing but take the piss out of me. So Ron.
He did, didn't he?
Yeah. I've told
It
you
was
before
funny.
now.
It was
Right.
funny.
Sympathy comes halfway between shit
Shit
and
and
syphilis in the
syphilis.
dictionary, and I've got neither.
No, exactly.
You got
You know your mates are. That's what I'm saying.
put it this way:
You can't be shocked then, can you?
if you, the way I see it is, if you're hurt, you're laying there on the ground and you're hurt, something's happened. If your mate stood there laughing, you know you're going to be all right. Okay. I remember that well.
I think you need to explain to our American friends what Prince Albert is.
Yes.
Bear in mind, so me and Matt were in a pub. Well, Matt owned the pub. We're in the pub and we're nattering. And I said, do you know what? I might get my tit pierced. And Matt looked at me like that. And he went, you get your tit pierced, I'll get a Prince Albert. Prince Albert being a piercing through the penis. And I looked at him, because we were both talking shit, because we've been drinking. And I looked at him and went, go on, you're on. Walking out the pub, thinking to myself, where are we going to get piercings done now? It's a Saturday afternoon. Up to the tattoo parlour. Well,
what was the days by any chance, was it?
30, 40 minutes later, there's these 2 guys walking out of the tattoo parlour. One with his recently pierced nipple, thinking, fucking hurts. And the other one going, that ain't too bad, actually. I'm quite surprised. It ain't too bad at all. Anaesthetists or anaesthetics will do that to you. It was about 45, 50 minutes later when we both stood at the bar having a drink. And my mate looks at me and goes, oh.
Especially when he went to wee.
That's starting to sting a little bit. But, yeah, silly things you do.
Breaking glasses with it.
Yeah, it's breaking glasses with it. Kind of party trick. When you're young, or younger. In fact,
hope I
even,
have children
even
that
today,
sees.
even today, I think there's occasionally I can be a bit daft like that. But yeah, one of
Never.
those. All good fun. Nobody was hurt.
You never see me drunk on my mobility scooter with a bottle in one hand. And
Yeah, it's that's another thing is it's pain thresholds. So everybody's different. I've known people that really are sensitive to the needle when they have a tattoo done. Me personally, I'm lucky. I've got there's something wrong up there. I've got a
that's why, because you had your head done.
yeah. I've had my head tattooed, my back's tattooed, my legs are tattooed, my arms are tattooed. But it's not so much. I don't. To me,
It's a lovely
the
dolphin.
pain of the tattoo I find quite relaxing. I don't find it that painful. But then I'm also the same guy that broke his arm in 2 places and probably wandered around with it for several days, not realising it was broken. Yeah. So, yeah, we were in our mid-30s, weren't we? Some people might think we should have known better somehow. But then I also remember somebody else dancing one night wearing a straw hat, which was burning quite merrily. And I've even got the picture to prove it.
Yes, Mac. I found some pictures of the from the pub.
Yeah, got some pictures from the pub. I've got
You and your sombrero on fire.
sombrero on fire. No, I didn't say sombrero on fire. I said sambuca on fire.
Who set it alight though in the first place?
Oh, yeah, it's the sort of thing that
I think
happened.
you did it yourself.
It was the sort of thing that happened.
I was putting points, and some.
I mean, we
put the
I've-
fortune drop his gun and throws my ass.
I've been in a pub where I started hearing people sing the Zulu Warrior. Looked over my shoulders to see 2 guys stood on a pool table, each one with a piece of rolled up newspaper poked between the cheeks of his arse and the paper on fire. Doing the dance of the flaming arseholes. And as the doorman at the time, people were going, "Are you going to do something about that?" And go, "What do you want me to do? I go blow it out." So they'll get down when it gets too hot.
Really in a burning ring of fire.
So tell me again when all this seemed like a good idea. We've all done, every single one of us has got a story to tell. Okay. And tonight's been one of those nights. Yeah, we've not covered a lot of bushcraft survival and prepping tonight. And I might not actually, yeah, I'll let this one go live, sod it. If there's anybody watching this that was expecting to see bushcraft and survival, no. This is Social Sunday. We have a laugh, we have a chat. Everybody here on this channel, all these guys you see here, yeah, they have problems in their lives. They have difficulties in their lives. They have hard days. Some get up and do jobs they don't like. Some have other issues. You know, and I don't even know what issues are. But everybody has issues in their life. If this 2 hours on a Sunday night gives you a chance to sit back, have a laugh, have a beer, listen to a couple of old farts waffling, have a giggle, have some fun, maybe bring back some memories, maybe think about some of the fun and daft things you've done, then fine. Because that is prepping and survival. It is bushcraft skills.
It's learning from your mistakes.
It's not just that. It's also having that time to relax. Okay? One of the first things I always come back to anybody when it comes to survival situations is mindset. And it is mental strength and mental ability. If you allow yourself to laugh at yourself occasionally, you allow yourself to laugh at others in a nice enough way, not a harmful way. Have a giggle at their moments, their stories and tales and that. It makes life seem a little bit easier. Okay? It's never done to ridicule anybody. It's just done because it was funny. Okay, and if you ever find yourself in a situation, think about those moments. Use them. It's a tool. Allow that brain of yours to decompress, whether it be stress at work, stress in your life, any issues you're having.
Laughter,
Give yourself
Yeah.
a little bit of
Yeah.
space to have a laugh. Think back over the good times. Think back over the daft times. Have a giggle and a laugh at it. Okay, and keep that stress to a minimum, because we all have it. We all have it. It's there to hurt us all. Yeah, thank you, Ray. It's absolutely been a great one tonight. Thoroughly enjoyed it. It's been good decompression. Thank you, Jason, for joining us
Yeah,
tonight.
you're
I do appreciate it. You will see him again, and you'll see him on some of the videos from time to time. Thank you, Kaz, for being here as my support as usual. It's been a real pleasure. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to do my usual. I'm going to just let you guys say goodnight to one another as you want to for 5 minutes. I'll sit here and waffle with Jason and all the rest of it. Mac, thank you for joining us again.
Do that.
Guys, go over to Facebook, have a look at the Hampshire Hogs Hunters Club. Sign yourselves up with Mac. It's a Facebook group, but it's all like-minded
That's
people.
nice. I like that.
Get stuck into that, enjoy it. You know, it's a support network as well. You've got any questions, you've got any ideas, stay in contact. Again, through the week, if you ever have any issues, dramas or nightmares, guys, okay, that's my email address. Okay, druidmitch@gmail.com. You know you can hit me up. Yeah, by all means, send me an email. Okay, and I will endeavour to get back to you as fast as possible. Please bear in mind, some days I might be out with Kaz, with hospital appointments, things like that we have to attend. So sometimes we can be out for
Stay safe, John.
all day.
And the-
John, stay safe. Watch them tornadoes make their buggers. Lee, take it easy. Keep smiling. John, keep smiling. Ray, look after yourself, mate. Derek, all my best, bro. Take it easy. And thank you for joining us tonight. Drive back through here. There's 6 of us on at the moment. Right, so any of the guys, Mac, as always, bro, you know, they've been fantastic. Thank you very much for all your support and all your help as well. Guys, stay safe, be good, have a fantastic week, enjoy yourselves. Don't let the shit get you down, okay? Keep smiling, stay happy. I will be back here next Sunday, 2000 hours as normal. Might be something planned, might not. Might just be another random chat. If you enjoyed the way we did it tonight, let me know. Because again, it's one of those things. I sometimes sit here on a Saturday and I'm thinking, what the hell am I going to do tomorrow night? How am I going to do this? Do I do a story? What do I do? Tonight was literally, I've been feeling like crap for about 48, 72 hours. I feel a lot better now, actually, to be honest with you. Jace took Kaz out for a meal for me. They came back, and I'd intended to sit down and plan out some ideas and, you know, have a proper interview and all the rest of it. But it's turned into just a nice, as somebody said earlier on, pub chat, yeah, and that are amongst friends. Thank you for joining us. Have a fantastic safety week wherever you are. Please like, subscribe, share, do all that good stuff. And yeah, love those you do, forgive those you don't. Peace and light be upon you all, my friends. Have an awesome week from both me, Jace, and Kaz. And I'll let you say your goodbyes.
Stay safe, be free.
Exactly.
Yeah, stay safe, live free.
That was nice from Hang Tough, though, that comment there.
He's quite a nice guy, that Derek, you know.
Don't tell him that.
Don't tell him
You
that.
know, visit him.
Don't do that. Actually, yeah, if all goes well next year, I might get a chance to get out to the States and see some of you guys. Or we might just have to sort of go to one location. It's just, again, funds are difficult, but I will endeavour to get over there. The strippers of the council, yes.
Oh dear.
Yeah, get that in Spain. Yeah, Derek saying I met a beautiful girl in Madrid. Yeah.
I saw that one, yeah. Dodgy. You can't tell, Derek.
No.
I'll tell you what, yeah, we've had a couple of friends come unstuck like that, didn't we? Yeah. And Yeah, I can tell you some stories from my nightclub days. I've seen one or two lads go, "What the hell?
Are you sure?
Really? Hers is bigger than mine." I don't think she's a her, my son. Let me educate you in the way of the world, birds and the bees. Oh, yeah, there's a couple of stories there that I could never tell. One, because they just, YouTube would go mental. Two, it would probably offend somebody somewhere in the world and I'll get a bad name. Okay. Yeah. Good night, all. Stay
Good
safe.
night.
Be good. This is Mickey. Hampshire Outdoors Survival. Mickey out.
Goodbye, everyone.